Yeah, and remember at like 2 minutes of spectator delay left, we'll take a break and then come back in. Okay, the draft started.
Are we live? Yep, or no? Okay. Okay, welcome everyone to week number 2 here of our dominant pre-mid. I am Primus alongside my co-caster here for today.
Yep, and I am Brutus Muffin, also known as Combat Muffin, also known as the Muffin Man, and I am happy to be here.
So you could say your teammates all know you as the Muffin Man.
Yeah, Muffin here, Muffin there. Brutus is starting to crop up as well, which is a new development. But we play it by ear. Either way, happy to be here. One of my favorite teams is playing, so I'm actually on one of their other teams. So happy to cast them.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see how this plays out. We have Noah taking on Team World Class. Both these teams are sitting at 1-0, albeit Noah's does have a tiny little asterisk because they did lose their first week's match, but due to a Smurf, they were awarded the victory in week number 1. Noah, I did cast them during the pre-made during the qualifier tournament, but no one in particular really stood out on Noah, if I remember correctly. So I'm curious to see if there's been any developments over the past 2 weeks since I last saw Noah, as we are going through picks and bans here for you.
Yeah, getting a little worried by these lack of bans. Might be having a draft remade, which would be oh, never mind. They're losing the bans here off of having the E-sub in the form of Happy Hippos up in the top lane. Professor Chaos, the ADC sub, but he is on the roster, so no ban loss.
When not even the player know what is going on, that is definitely a concerning point to be going on. Though it is standard operating procedure, generally when you have an E-sub, you're generally losing your first 2 bans, and then you get your bans from the rest of the phase.
Yeah, it is actually up to the other team to decide where you lose those bans. So sometimes you see teams saying 1 and 1, or 2 at the start, or 2 at the end. So it is up to the other team to decide where those bans are lost, and it seems they decided that Team World Class was not allowed first phase bans.
Yeah, I feel like that's the more standard and generally the more fair way of operating things, but to each their own here. So we are looking at Malphite, Zoe, and Vladimir currently on the ban list. We are missing 1 ban here. Okay, so J4 is the middle ban that did not get banned by Team Noah. I'm very confused on to what exactly is going on at this point.
Yeah,
so
we're having a lot of discussion in the chat here, guys, about the draft being filled with errors, and they just want to restart it. So it looks like that might be the case and the direction that we're moving in. Yep, it looks like we are going to restart the draft. So forget everything you're seeing on screen. I do think that Malphite is going to remain banned, as Happy Hippo has a 65% win rate on him as his most played in the top lane. So definitely don't want to give him that.
Yeah, so bans will be saying the same.
I don't know if all the bans are staying the same. Let's just play it by ear. However it plays out, if the bans stay the same, great. It does seem like Team World Class will still lose those first 2 bans. So we'll see if they maintain the Vladimir as their 3rd ban, or if they change that up.
Sometimes I wonder how it's so difficult to operate pro drafts. Like, it's not rocket science, people.
See, the problem is the league client tells you have 30 seconds, but you actually have like 40. But Pro Draft says you have 30 seconds, and you have 30 seconds, so that makes it problematic.
Yeah. I think it's actually like 35 seconds is what they give
Yeah,
you.
it feels like 40, but yeah, it's 30. It counts down from 30, and then it gives you like 5 seconds at the 0 second marker. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
All right, getting new draft links in the chat here.
Yeah, let's hope for no shenanigans this time. We can get through this and we could look for the game here. So, gonna be again, I am a little curious to see how this ends up playing out. I did mention both these teams are currently sitting at a 1-0 record so far. Team World Class won their first series against Excel in a 2-1 series that was very close last week, which got them off to a good start.
Against a very good team in Exalt, no less, who is slated to be one of the best teams in the league, and in my opinion, one of the contenders for best team in the group, along with Team World Class. Inside group, I think this is Group D or E. It's one of those. Let me check and double be sure on that. It is. It is Group D, so I was right initially. And the draft will surely start any second as there are R's in chat. As you said earlier, Noah getting that forfeit win because their opponents did bring a Smurf and they were luckily caught out for breaking the rules. But definitely want to prove something here. If they can win this series, they'll show that they don't need forfeits and that they can be a team on their own. As we do see the Malphite band yet again in this new draft that we have.
And yeah, it's fine.
Not exactly surprising.
Well, yeah, pretty standard. Like until you're getting to like Masters Plus, like you're pretty much going to primarily see a lot of target bans with maybe a couple of OPs thrown in there as well. Pretty standard operating procedure for this level of play. What I am going to be curious to see is what actually ends up getting prioritized, because there's going to be so many strong picks left up due to 2 bans being missing between the 2 teams.
Yeah, which it also, one of the big weaknesses I'm gonna be looking for in Team World Class this series is the fact that Professor Chaos is playing instead of the new ADC that they had picked up. The problem with Professor Chaos is he's got a very limited champion pool, and I'm expecting him to stay limited to quite very few champions, which I'll start naming as we go throughout the series. But we're likely to see some MF, maybe some Lucian and Kai'Sa in this series.
I mean, it's perfectly fine having a 80 carry with a limited champion pool. Excuse me. From the standpoint that you can always early rotation your bot lane and not really give up a lot for it.
Yeah, and Brad, straight up Merkin, the support for Team World Class is an amazing support. He has heavy roams. He's good in lane, so he definitely carries a lot of the slack from Professor Chaos. As we see Yasuo hovered for first pick, which would be a Hyphy first pick.
Yeah. Sejuani makes more sense, though.
Yeah, Sejuani makes more sense. Oh my god, the alpha. So they do take the Yasuo. That's hype. Wondering where that's going to go. That could go it could go in 3 roles. It could go in ADC, mid, or top, really, depending on how they decide to build their team. Really a good flex pick there if multiple players on your team play it. As we see more Caitlyn answer.
Yeah, this is one of the bot lanes, especially with Caitlyn getting recent buffs and other 80 carries getting nerfed. It is one of the bot lanes that you have to respect that the enemy team can run, because there really isn't too many things you can run into it and be successful, because almost anything you pick is going to be at best the skill matchup into this bottom lane. However, if you are able to force the Caitlyn flash early, it's pretty much free ganks in the bottom lane for the rest of the game, because if Morgana uses Black Shield on Caitlyn, you kill Morgana. If Black Shield gets used on Morgana, you kill Caitlyn.
And here we're looking at potentially the foundations of a Yasuo ADC with a bot lane camp in this Braum being hovered and Sejuani already locked in. That would be a lot of CC in the bot lane. Yeah, more than sufficient gank assist to make a kill happen in the bot. So definitely gonna have to be smart about how they play in the bot lane this time around. I'd like to see a strong jungler from Mercy Hawk to pull Team World Class through on the early game, especially in the bot side.
Yeah, it does give them a very strong core of the composition. I'm still not sure it is in fact going to be a Yasuo bot lane quite yet. Like, yes, it is a very easy possibility because you do have such strong gank assist and lockdown down in this bottom side of the map between Sejuani passive, Braum passive. You pretty much sack both of those instantaneously on a target with Yasuo there as well. But there's still quite a few things on the table that I'm curious to see whether pick up. There's things like the Aurelia, the Silas is on the table.
I am curious. This Jax is kind of a big brain, but also kind of a small brain pick. Like, yes, it's really nice. Like you're flexing this between jungle and top. And it's also really good at fighting against Yasuo wherever Yasuo might be. But at the same time, I'm a little worried about that situation. It already shows a little bit maybe too much of their hand and what they are looking to do.
Well, my issue is that the Jax has a lot more limited flexibility in terms of where he can match up role wise. So he can't ever truly fully match the Yasuo because the Jax only really has 2 roles he can go into, while one of those roles Yasuo will never ever do in his lifetime unless you have a hard troller in your solo queue, flex queue, or normal games, which is Yasuo jungle.
Jeez, I think Team World Class is losing quite a few more bans than I had expected personally. They got what seems to be just one ban total for this game.
That's really weird. I mean, I'm not up to date on all the rules for leagues. I know most leagues that I participate in usually just do 2 bans for eSub, and then if it's more than that, they add additional bans. But if it's 4 bans, it's 4 bans.
Yeah, someone knows the rules better than me, and I'm sure they're the ones who told them that you lose 4 bans. All right, we see a Hecarim picked up here, so the top lane is going to be Jax, as they are essentially blind picking that, giving Noah the option to pick whatever matchup they choose. And we see the Kaisa hovered. Could be a Yasuo mid. I wouldn't expect Yasuo top against Jax.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Yasuo mid, and then we could see something like a Fiora top lane. We could see a more tank-oriented matchup where we could see something like the Ornn. No, it looks like they might opt into the Yasuo into the Jax matchup, which is not the wisest of decisions.
Yeah, maybe they are expecting to get a lot of jungle pressure up there and use that to win the matchup. Like the real problem here is once Jax gets really an item, maybe even just an item and a half, he's gonna walk all over Yasuo, as that wind wall is not gonna do anything, and the mobility is gonna be difficult to outrun a Jaxie. It's not impossible, but it is quite challenging to do it consistently.
Well, the other fact of the matter is that Jax E entirely stops you from getting Sejuani passive stacked on you for the duration. Which means for 2.5 seconds, Jax gets to just walk away or jump away, and there's nothing you can do as Sejuani or Yasuo unless you're able to knock him up with either a Tornado or a Sejuani Q. So Jax hard wins this matchup post level 6. Like, regardless of items. Like, post level 6, Jax just beats Yasuo.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to do much of anything in that if I'm Yasuo in a 1v1 scenario. Like if the Sejuani lives up there, that's a completely different topic, right? You don't know exactly how that is going to play out. It could go either which way. But other than that, like you're saying, it does look quite grim for Noah's first pick.
Yeah, I just feel like, well, yes, Yasuo is inherently a strong pick if you can execute it, but opting in to a counter matchup is not optimal, in my opinion, because the rest of your team composition doesn't really have a great point to play around. Like, bot lane's going to be a rough matchup for the Kai'Sa Braum. Yes, they do still have all-in potential if the Caitlyn Morgana messes up, but if they don't mess up, like, Kai'Sa Braum's just going to get shoved in 24/7. Ahri's not a great matchup into Orianna. Orianna's supposed to soft win that matchup just because with proper ball movement and everything, you can keep Ahri relatively chunked so she can't look for potential all-in. But if the Ahri's good enough, she can still most certainly win that matchup. Well, on the other side, you have Caitlyn Morgana, which wins almost every bot lane matchup on paper. You have Hecarim, who will be just fine with into the Sejuani. The Sejuani's not going to threaten him at all, allowing him to get his necessary items early on and look to snowball the game. And then you have a Jax counter matchup into the Yasuo, and you have an Orianna soft counter matchup into the Ahri. Like, Team World Class just looks to be flat out better on
Yeah,
paper than Noah.
especially in the bot lane. You know, when they had Yasuo, Braum potentially as their bot lane, it made a lot more sense against Caitlyn Morgana because you can all in them, you can kill them, especially with jungle pressure. But to have Braum Kai'Sa, it's much weaker. Braum is gonna be at the mercy of Morgana and Caitlyn, and he is not gonna have a good time with that. I guarantee you.
Yeah, there's not really much Kai'Sa Braum can do into Caitlyn Morgana unless Caitlyn Morgana messes up.
Yeah, which is a distinct possibility. You know, Caitlyn, you got to be right on the money every time with your positioning. If you make a mistake, you can die just like that. So to say it's impossible would be not accurate, but I don't think it's very likely.
It's highly unlikely.
Yeah. All right, and I do like this Orianna that they last picked. It's gonna give Team World Class a lot of team fight potential that they wouldn't have had with many other picks. The Orianna, consistent. You got a Hecarim that can go in. You also have potentially a Jax later on in the game if he's not splitting for some forsaken reason that I can't explain. But it could, you know, this could be very good. I like Team World Class's team comp here. Though Noah has a lot of pick potential, I am gonna criticize this Yasuo pick heavily.
Yeah, I mean, if it's the guy's comfort pick, like, that's one thing. Like, if he's confident playing it into any matchup, like, Yasuo does have some level of outplay potential in any matchup. But, like, Jax is just one of those picks where it's just like, okay, I dodge your Q, I dodge your all of your damage. Like,
Yeah,
what do you
yeah, like if Anthem goes in aggressively at any point on Yasuo, Happy Hippos is just gonna like pop his counter strike, just sit there auto attacking Yasuo, and then when Yasuo tries to E away, he's just gonna Q on him and then proc the second part of E and just obliterate that poor man's HP. So you got Anthem has definitely got to be on the money with this. You know, the one bend Team World Class had was this Vladimir, which was pointed at Anthem, who is a Vladimir one trick. So there's definitely a certain level of respect coming from Team World Class in this game towards him. However, does that respect merit a Yasuo first pick blind? I don't think so.
I would agree, but he has every opportunity. He has every opportunity to disprove us. I think, like, yes, they have a lot of potential on the side of Team Noah, at least in terms of picks, in terms of team fighting in specific situations, because it isn't a mobile backline with the Orianna Caitlyn. So, like, if you get Abram ulti or Sejuani gets into the back line, like they have a lot of potential to burst out those squishies. It's just the fact of the matter is that they have to get to their item timings, and the likelihood of that happening at a good clip for the side of Noah, I just find is quite unlikely because everything just seems to scream in the favor of Team World Class as long as they are executing everything properly.
Yeah, and it's not like the late game is super one-sided in either direction. I do think it favors Noah slightly in the team fight department, but Team World Class has a juggernaut in the Jax as the game progresses. So it's really going to be up to Noah to make stuff happen in order to win this game, especially as we get past 25-30 minutes. Once Jax gets a few items, Triforce, Shojin, it's going to be problematic.
Essentially, Noah has to win this game on their 2-item power spike.
I don't,
Which,
not necessarily but they definitely have to have some form of momentum once that threshold is starting to come around. Once Jax is becoming the side lane monster, you have to get stuff going as a team. And if you fail to do that, then the side lane monster is going to end the game on his own.
yeah, because if Jax hits 2 items, like unless they're really hard winning team fights, they don't really have a win condition for Noah because Jax just killed their base. Because nobody on the side of Noah can match Jax in the side lane once he has his core 2 items of Triforce Sojourn.
And something I want to point out, I do like Reese's Cup taking cleanse on the Oriana here. He's against Sejuani and Ari. Definitely smart to take that. He would have been even more paid off if Ari had taken Ignite, but she is taking TP this game.
Yeah, probably. If I had to wager a guess, I'm assuming it's a Glacial Augment RA coming in. Just for that additional pick potential coming in here as we are ticking into our spectator delay right now. I think I know which way you're going to go here, Muffin Man, but who is your prediction for this game?
Well, I do think Team World Class is going to win, and I also think it's going to be fairly decisive.
Well, there you have it, folks. Muffin Man comes down on the side of Team World Class. We are going to take a short break here while we're waiting for the spectator delay to time out. Please stay tuned. We'll be back with you guys in just a few. and dominate Premade. Once again, I am Primus alongside the Muffin Man. We have Team Noah taking on Team World Class. Let us give you a rundown of our two rosters for this best of 3 match here today. We have on the blue side, Team Noah, we have Antium in the top lane on Yasuo, Chicken Hunter in the jungle on Sejuani, Taka, number 12 in the mid lane on Ari, Math 32A on Kaisa, and the man of Pi in the bottom lane on Braum.
Yeah, and for Team World Class, we have Happy Hippo subbing in the top lane as Jax, Mercy Hawk in the jungle on Hecarim, Reese's Cup in the mid lane on Orianna, and then Professor Chaos and Straight Up Merkin in the bot lane as Caitlyn Morgana.
Yeah, just a very interesting how that draft ended up playing out, given the fact that Noah had all their bans and Team World Class only had one of their bans. We saw things like the Aurelia fall entirely through draft. We saw things like the Aatrox, which did get nerfed, but some people still think is quite strong, fall through draft. Zyra Khan fell through draft. Like, there's a lot of interesting things about this draft that we didn't see either teams prioritize, but we're going to have to just wait and see how this game plays out. It did end up being the Glacial Augment Ari in the mid lane, so we're going to see if Taka is going to be able to get out of that mid lane and start roaming around to try to make some plays.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of the best tools for proactive play on the side of Noah. Those glacial actives are so ridiculous, especially Spooky Ghost, which can just completely cover a map when you're in the middle.
Yeah, it basically pretty much locks out any corridor entrance that the side of Team World Class can get to if they're someplace second. Like, if Team World Class gets to someplace first, they have just as much zone control with the Caitlyn traps, with the Morgana bindings, with the Orianna balls. So both these teams really want to be the first to a situation. They don't want to be coming into a situation second.
Yeah, definitely want to be proactive here, as when you are reacting, you're just on the back foot. You're getting caught out. Your carries are getting hit. Meanwhile, you're like blowing your ults on Sejuani or something useless like that. So definitely need to be proactive with the engages for both teams. Well, not necessarily if Team World Class is split pushing, of course. But that is long from right now, as we see the Caitlyn Morgana lane, while having the push priority and the control of the lane positioning, have not managed to build too big of a CS lead yet.
Yeah, they didn't play quite as aggressively as I expected them to during the level 1 to level 2 transition. So that kind of has allowed Kaisa Braum to maintain things at a relatively even lane state so far. However, it could also mean that they were expecting potentially an early gank coming in from Chicken Hunter down to this bottom lane, because Kaisa Braum does have a lot of all-in potential, even with things such as the Black Shield.
Yeah, Black Shield doesn't matter, especially once you have 2 points in your queue as Braum. It's gonna go right through it, and you can pop the Braum passive after it. You also have a Sejuani who, if Sejuani's ganking, is also doing magic damage and is also breaking through the shield. So there's definitely many options to deal with this shield in the bot lane, but we will see how it develops, as Antim is going hard in the early lane, where he has an advantage being that he is Yasuo resourceless, and Q spam is very powerful.
Yeah, straight up Merkin is burning through a large portion of his mana trying to get those early spell thieves procs, when, to be honest, like, I feel like how he should be playing this is he should just be walking up and autoing Braum every time Braum walks forward.
It does seem like the reason he is going so hard on these spellcasts, he has taken mana flow ban, and he also has these biscuits in his inventory, which can replenish a decent amount of mana as he gets low in that department. But yeah, I think right now he's just focusing on getting his mana flow stacked.
Gank in the mid lane. Taka is going to get knocked back. Does get a nice charm on the Mercy Hawk. Does have to force the flash away in order to get out.
Yeah, Mercy Hawk does use his Ghost there to have a little bit more damage and speed in that gank. But good escape there from Taka. He is level 5, so we will have his ult soon, and can resist most likely any other gank that comes his way in the near future.
Yeah, I do want to do a quick little comment. There was a very nice ping out coming from the side of Team World Class, accurately predicting where Sejuani would be. Don't think they actually had vision in the Crux pit, but they knew the timing and the pathing coming in from the side of Sejuani, so they were able to predict that she is actually bot side right now, allowing the Caitlyn Morgana to play more safe in lane and not risk it getting potentially ganked. And now those deep wards coming into play for the side of Team World Class.
Something to note is that Antim is not TPing back to lane when Happy Hippos did. So he's going to have the TP advantage. How he uses that as Yasuo is where I am finding myself wondering, as his team doesn't really have anything to enable him yet. Braum is not level 6. Sejuani does have the knockup with her dash, does not have ultimate yet to consistently put herself in a position to do that.
Yeah, but like, yes, Anthem did not use his TP back to lane, but he does come back to a level disadvantage.
Yeah, that's a big wave. He'll be level 6 once
yes,
he finishes clearing that.
But it's Jax level 6 versus Yasuo level 6.
I mean, you're not wrong. I do want to point out, I'm a little disappointed. Happy Hippos is not going Tiamat here, opting instead to rush out the Phage items. I do think that's a mistake. You want to get that Tiamat as fast as possible on Jax.
I think in this matchup, you are correct, just because the Tiamat passive does help you keep Yasuo's passive of Way of the Wanderer off him as much as possible. You don't have to actually worry about actually auto-attacking him. So on that stance, I think it is correct. But I actually have been seeing less Jaxes going into the Tiamat just because they want to make sure they're hitting those two really expensive item points in the Spear and in the Triforce as soon as possible.
Yeah, furthermore, Anthem is up here in the top lane, a little bit over half HP, but he doesn't have any potions in his inventory. Meanwhile, Happy Hippos, who is at full HP, has still 2 stacks on his corrupting potion. So looking to potentially extend his lead over there or force a TP out of Anthem if he plays his cards right.
I would really like to see Happy Hippos just slowly thin this wave and look to try to hold it outside of his tower, because he has such good vision set up that he can very easily get a gank coming in with Mercy Hawk, who has that level 6 available.
Oh, but here's the Sejuani.
Yeah, the Sejuani is here, but the Jax is just going to use the Leap Strike and the Counter Strike to get away. Straight up Merkin is going to come in. Shockwave is traded for Spirit Rush as Take is able to once again escape a gank with his life.
Yeah, and that's a pretty even trade. Those ultimates are at a very similar cooldown, with Orianna's being slightly lower after the recent round of RE slow nerfs that they have given her, spread out over 10 patches.
Oh, but it looks like they're trying to index into Anthem. They snowballed that just top lane priority into a red steal, but it looks like they might be rotating onto Mercy Hawk. Ultimate is going to land into the knockup onto Mercy Hawk, but he does have the Unstoppable, is able to get away. So that's both ultimates and the flash burn from Anthem in exchange for just the ultimate from Mercy Hawk.
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliantly played by Mercy Hawk, just spamming his R button and praying to live, as all good junglers should. He managed to barely get out of that and baited out Anthem's flash, which should be a free gank as far as I'm concerned for Mercy Hawk. He could even just come up right behind that tower, charging E and ghosting up, and there will be nothing Anthem can do about it other than face light's little gray screen.
Yeah, because the red buff is going to give Anthem a little bit of trade priority into the Jax at level 6, but like without his flash, but Chicken Hour is coming back up. The red buff slow is going to make it. Grandmaster's Life is pop, but it's just not going to be enough. Oh, that's a nice flash.
Oh, is it enough though? Yeah.
Counter-Strike is, but it's not going to matter as Anthem's going to have the minions come back around, allowing him to dash through for that first blood. Almost very well played from Happy Hippos, just not quite enough, as it's going to be at least 1 turret play, potentially 2 coming in for Anthem in the top lane.
Slightly overextended, a little disrespectful of the fact that Yasuo did have red buff, but his team is not skipping a beat, even if it's a slight misplay in the top lane. Doesn't matter, they pick up Dragon, and they're still active on the map.
Yeah, they do lose 2 turret plates further in the top lane, plus a card rotation, so They are still losing stuff on the top side, but given the fact that they do have a Caitlyn Morgana lane, which I do have to say, I'm not terribly impressed with how they're playing it so far. Like, Caitlyn Morgana, you pick to play at the enemy's turret. Like, yes, they are respecting Sejuani ganks, but like, you pick Caitlyn to take turret plates, and they haven't even gotten close to breaking a turret plate yet. As they're going back on the Happy Hippos, he has gotten back up in the tower on the top lane. Should just be able to survive. This counter strike is down. There are still minions there. Does not have Grandmaster flank. Anthem is going to eat some damage. Reese's Cup has rotated up a lot of damage while there is a gang in battle, and Man's Battered flashes right onto a trap. Nice use of the Onslaught of Shadows. Killer Instinct is going to get a little bit of disengage, but no, Ace in the Hole comes in, securing the kill. While they did also secure the kill onto Chicken Hunter in the top side of the map, as that was a great
and Anthem lives with 5 HP, it looks like. Yeah, more or less 5 HP. Happy Hippo is going to push that up in the top lane. Most likely not get any plates due to Anthem still having that TP. But he will be forcing it, and Happy Hippo's TP is about to come up. So he got a free TP to lane, did not get punished for it whatsoever. His team's ahead on the map, and his team's ahead overall.
Okay, so Anthem started walking back to lane, and then he TPs.
I mean, like how far was he? Like, was he at like Ner or something? Like,
he was almost to their inhibitor. So
that's not too. Like, all right, come on, that's not like being at your inner tower and TPing top, right? That's like complete troll.
It's still a little bit troll.
I mean, it's not optimal, but he should have just TP'd immediately. He should have known that he there. That's definitely a little bit of hesitation on his side. Might be a little bit of jitters or greed.
Yeah, Jax does not quite have the Sheen yet. The Sheen is really where Jax fully takes over this matchup.
Yeah, I really wish he had Tiamat, because then he could get an extra pop of his Conqueror for these quick trades. It would really help him a lot to stack that up and be more threatening as the trades develop. But he is deciding to just rush out the Triforce.
Yeah, the Triforce does give him the more immediate power spike, while Tiamat would just kind of more of a laning phase item, where it gives him an additional boost in the laning phase, gives him a little bit more wave control as Anthem is pretty much freely pushing in. Chicken Hunter is once again hovering around this Krug rotation, as it looks like they could be setting up for a 3-man dive up onto Happy Hippos. Nice use of the lead spike, is going to dodge, but into the Sejuani ultimate. That is just one dead Jax here, as
hey man, you know, that happens sometime as the top laner. I wish he had read the map a little bit better, but you know, what can you do? You got 3 people top, you die between your top tower and your inner tower. There's really not much you can do in that scenario other than not be there.
I mean, Noah's doing a fairly good job of enabling this Yasuo pick, but the thing is Jax is still farming decently well despite being camped so heavily. He's been multi-man ganked multiple times up there, and he's still relatively close on CS. I'd love to see him freeze this wave and make Yasuo overextend if they're not going to opt for a lane swap.
Yeah, what Happy Hippos will have to be careful of are these super long lanes. While he gets to that point where he can fight Anthem on this Yasuo, due to all the help that Anthem has received, as Professor Chaos almost getting a 1v2 solo kill in the bot lane.
Yeah, Mercy Hawk is here, is going to go in with the Onslaught of Shadows, is going to get knocked up immediately. Nice kill, is going to keep him alive. Oh, that was just very well played from Math and Man of Pies down in that bottom lane. That's just a feels bad coming in, but that was just an outplay.
Yeah, Mercy Hawk only seeing red. If he had used that ghost, maybe he would have had enough burst damage, but alas, it was not enough, and he got the fool made out of him, as Math 32A and the Man of Pies both survived with the sliver.
So we do see the lane swap coming in with Ari going up into the top lane, Yasuo rotating into the mid lane here for the side of Noah here, trying to get him more additional gold, because he still is about 1,000 to 1,600 gold short of completing his Infinity Edge, and that's when everyone knows that's Yasuo's happy time, when he gets those 2 items completed under his belt.
Yeah, and he is going straight into that IE out of static shiv. I wasn't sure if he would try to go for Steric's Gauge maybe, but he does feel like he is ahead enough that he just wants to get those items as quick as possible and is foregoing the the Steric's Gauge for the IE.
Yes, but I love the adaptation coming in from Team World Class. They've rotated Caitlyn Morgana into the mid lane to counteract the strong point of the map in the Yasuo, because the Yasuo can't do anything to Caitlyn Morgana.
Yeah, and that really does beg the question, why is the Yasuo the one who's coming mid? He's literally just going to sit around farming until he has IE. Why don't you put the Ahri in the mid lane who just finished Hextech GLP and is ready to fight? Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we do have the Rift Herald getting secured here by Team World Class. I'd really like to use them to see that mid lane finish off that tower, take control of the enemy side jungle with that Rift Herald coming in.
Yeah, and this Rift Herald could be a... Oh, wow, we have a dragon fight on the back
of this. But it is going to get bursted. And so the Shockwave still coming in. We do have a huge onslaught of shadows is going to come in as Reese's Cup secures the kill. On to Math 32 Ace, steals the dragon and secures and gets a kill. That is a feels bad moment coming in from Noah. They tried to go for the objective trade, but Reese's Cup is just like, nah, this is mine.
Yeah, Reese's Cup putting down the gauntlet and showing that he is the real man of the mid lane, and that's why he is currently in the mid lane, looking to fight. The massive 3-man ult in that dragon pit really set the stage for the rest of that fight, stealing the dragon with it, as well as getting everyone down very low and making the fight lost for as soon as it started.
Yeah, that was just a smite timing that was just missed, because the smite was down, because the Drake was down to about 380 HP when the Shockwave came through to secure that Drake objective. So it was just a missed opportunity. Smite, I don't know if Chicken Hunter didn't actually have Smite available, or if he just didn't expect the play to come through. So like, that was a good series of plays that were happening coming in from the side of Team Noah, but that Drake take pretty much swings it all back in the favor of Team World Class.
Yeah, it does seem like they were just missing the damage to be able to take it fast enough. I do think Anthem was missing from the pit. Maybe they finished it fast enough, but then again, then you have an extra member who's stuck in the pit and is getting Oriolted. Speaking of Oriole, he has now finished this Luden's Echo and is now working on a Morella Nomicon. So look for these Orioles to really start packing a punch as he is rank 2 ult now.
Shockwave is going to come in onto Anthem. He's just going to die. Reese's Cup secures another kill. Very nice use of the Shockwave there coming in from Reese's.
Yeah, there we see exactly the strengths of Oriana as more people want to die. Yep. Chicken getting a little bit change CC there by the Caitlyn Morgana, and you know, that's what happens when you walk greedy path.
Yeah, you walk a greedy path, you don't respect the enemy's damage potential right now. Because even though the Caitlyn is not going to what I think is the optimal build, which is the IE into ER, she is still hitting pretty hard on that IE Zeal power timing she's at right now.
And they do manage to pick up the mid inhib. They have Jax in the top lane, still farming up, has not finished Triforce, but he is applying pressure on the map nonetheless, as it appears 4 members of Noah, no, just 3, are going to go up there and teach him a lesson that apparently the 3-man dive was not sufficient for.
Yeah, he does have Triforce on his back timing, plus a little bit extra. We'll probably go into another Ruby Crystal, I assume, after completing Triforce.
No, he does. I think he's gonna. Okay, he does go for the Ruby Crystal. So, like you're insinuating, he's just gonna go straight into the Shojin, not even worry about Tiamat or pushing lanes. I guess he just wants to do damage to champions. So it looks like he's just gonna forego any pushing items and get that Shojin for the 1v1. Which honestly is not the worst idea considering how bad he's been camped.
Yeah, because like the thing about Tiamat that I mentioned earlier is that it's very much a laning phase item. It doesn't scale very well.
Well, it helps you apply pressure with when you're a split pusher who doesn't have like AoE wave clear abilities like many mid laners might have. Like for example, like with Echo, when he's split pushing, he doesn't have any trouble doing so because he's got AoE wave clear. So it's about having that AoE pressure and being able to push waves faster, more than anything, more than any combat stats or anything of the sort.
Yeah.
But
That was
even if
just a bit
that's
outside.
yeah, but the thing is, even if it hits, like Reese's Cup is just gonna cleanse. Like, sure, you hit that ult, you force the cleanse, but Reese's Cup is not dying there.
Oh,
either.
but Reese's face checks into the pink one and just gets instant versus Mercyhawk tries to go in, but is just gonna die as well. Does get a 3-man setup with the counter-strike, but everyone's just getting eviscerated on the side of Team World Class. What are they doing? What is this fight?
I guess it's just one bridge too far here for the side of Team World Class as they bite off more than they can chew. And Reese's Cup gets absolutely blasted as he face checks that push, which might be enough to lose his team the game after he had done such a great job getting his team in the lead. He might be the very one to get him into the defeat screen.
Yeah, that is going to get Baron over to the side of Team Noah, which just give him a slight gold advantage. But I just feel like they just, like, yes, the side of Team Noah does have to deal with super minions in the base, but they have their Kai'Sa on 2 items, they have their Yasuo on 2 items, and Ahri just completed Twin Shadows, so they are fully online as a team composition at this point.
Team World Class all going to this Ocean Drake. Let's see if this turns into anything, or if Noah just are more interested in pushing out lanes and converting towers, which it does seem to be the case. This Team World Class get a Ocean Drake, which I guess is nice, but you just gave up Baron and a lot of shutdown gold. So
yeah,
I mean, Professor Chaos surviving, really impressive there, as that fight was complete foobar from the get-go.
He had a really nice little cheeky blast cone play, which blew the Sejuani away from him and blew himself away from the Sejuani, which allowed him to escape when he was on single-digit HP. And to be perfectly honest, like,
okay, it looks like Noah's wasting this. They're not doing anything. Look, they're just letting this walk up mid. They're not even trying to buff the wave. Like, it's just gonna get obliterated by that super minion. They're not, look, they had a wave in the bot lane on that bot tower. If they buff that up for 3 seconds, it kills the tower. But they don't buff it up so it doesn't die. And Orianna's now down there farming that out and pushing the wave. Like, it's...
Well, it's a symptom of the fact that everyone is way too focused on mid lane towers. It's just like, yes, you want to secure your easy objectives, but bot lane was an easy objective. This mid tier 1 could have been something you rotated for after the fact. I think Ansem could have taken that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I definitely think you should have taken that, as that tower was at like 1 HP. So that, was like 3.
Yeah, because that's just a free pick onto the Caitlyn, who is a lot of their kind of wave control and zone control coming in from the Caitlyn. Because yes, Reese's Cup is fairly strong. I disagree with him finishing Morellonomicon. I feel like going straight into Death Cap is far better.
I disagree with you there. I do think this Morellonomicon
Who has healing? Who has healing?
Okay, so
Yasuo.
you have Ahri, you have Yasuo, and not Kai'Sa, but you have Ahri and Yasuo. Kai'Sa might have Lifeline. I actually am not sure. I can't really tell once the game has started.
No, Kai'Sa can't go Lifeline anymore with the E changes.
Okay,
she has to go Alacrity.
Okay, you do have Ahri,
but those are 2 very minor sources of sustain.
I mean, I disagree as Yasuo being minor, but it's also about the spell pen. It's about how much damage and burst your ult's gonna do.
You don't get any additional spell pen from Morellonomicon, though.
Not from upgrading it.
Like, the spell pen stays the same. You get 100 extra AP, 100 extra health, and like 50 more AP from completing it. Like, that's not worth the 1400 gold when you could just buy a needlessly large drop, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree to disagree. I definitely think it is the right path on Orianna to get that Morello second. I don't think having the death cap so soon is as useful.
Yeah, but if you have Death Cap, there's no tank on the enemy team other than Sejuani. You get a 3-man shockwave, everyone dies. You don't need Morellos at that point.
With the Morellos, except that if you hit them with the Morellos, they have no way to heal, no way to sustain out of.
Yeah, but you're a burst champion as Like, you want more burst. You don't need sustained damage as Orianna. Like,
well, I will agree to disagree as the game continues, and Noah have
Yeah.
supreme pressure in the bot lane, but not managing to pick up that inner tower just yet, and the Baron has timed out. So overall, Noah has managed to leap themselves ahead a good 6,000 gold with that Baron power play. So I want to
5,000.
see what Team World Class is gonna have to win the game all over again, because they had the game won and then they threw it. So let's see them try to win it again.
Oh, Jax, you're not going Sojin, which means you can't win side lane versus Yasuo.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's so white and black on that front. I do think there's definitely the ability to win that fight without the Shojin, but it requires
It's significantly
a little bit more
harder.
thought. Yeah.
Like, Sojin just makes it brain dead.
Yeah, I mean, what I don't understand is why you're rushing Sterix instead of, one, building a Tiamat, or two, building Shojin. So
It's
that's
too
a little,
late into the game to build Tiamat. It's too late in the game to build Tiamat.
It's never too late in the game. But yeah, it was more of a general point rather than a specific one. Like, this is just definitely not the right item for what he has been playing towards so far this game. Like, if he's getting the Sterix Gate just to try to maybe team fight a little bit, which might be what his team is calling out for him to do. So if that's the case and he's grouping a lot, then the Sterix might make sense. But if he's just going to be sitting in the side lane like he has been so far this game, I think it's not a good purchase.
Yeah, like, he's just been playing side lanes. Like, team fighting hasn't really gone well for them so far because they've gotten picked out. They've taken poor pathing decisions, like choosing to path. They had the Boros pink warded, which they were sitting on, but they chose to take the fight anyway. Orianna gets 100 to 0 and isn't able to make any impact in the team fight. Then everyone goes in one by one after that. Like, that was just not a good series of decisions, which is what has allowed Team Noah to get this 5,000 gold advantage at this point, with Baron now back up on the map. There's still a lot of opportunities for Team World Class.
Yeah, especially with two mountain
control
drakes.
the game.
They can do that Baron so fast, and like I was expecting, Happy Hippos looks to be a little bit more grouped up this time around, trying to make some plays with this team as he gets on Antim. Good dodge of that Q. And good CC follow-up. Will it be enough? It is.
Yeah, they are going to secure the shutdown onto Anthem. That is going to be crucial coming in from the side of...
It did cost them quite a few resources, but mostly from Happy Hippos, who, to be honest, is not that important for his team right now. So Team World Class still has most of their team fighting potential, and I'd like to see them try to get something aggressive going on here in either the top river or the top side of the map in general. Getting some deep jungle vision would be appropriate for this moment.
Yeah, they need to look to get control wards into Twin Shadows. It's going to come out. Charms is going to land onto Mercyhawks, who's incredibly squishy on this Hecarim. With
Yeah,
this
he did go Triforce Warrior, so definitely squishy.
I mean, he does have the stopwatch to buy a tiny bit of time when he goes in, but it's not a lot of time going into that GA next, but still no real HP in this build is just going to get blown up by this Kaisa Yasuo.
Yes, and we have, as Caitlyn's build is progressing, it does seem that he's going Essence Reaver third. It's either Essence Reaver or BT, most likely Essence Reaver for that third item, and 75% crit chance, as well as giving Caitlyn the ability to just spam her Q and traps as she pleases.
Yeah, like, the Essence Reaver makes more sense, but I could also see it theoretically BT coming in with the amount of pick potential coming in from the side of Team Noah, because it will give her additional sustain to try to survive that upfront burst.
Absolutely, and we see Noah start Baron. This is aggressive.
Yeah, they are trying to force a play here onto this Baron. It is getting burned relatively quickly here with their Kaisa damage. Nobody is in position. They're just going to get their second Baron free.
Yikes. That That's really disappointing to see Team World Class just give that up so easily, especially after the first Baron was so punishing to them. If this second one is anywhere in the same ballpark as that last Baron, this might be curtains for Team World Class's game one.
Yeah, this should be a brace making Baron coming in for the side of Team Noah. So if they're able to break the base on this, then it's pretty much the end of the story coming in for the side of Team World Class. Like, yes, there's still a lot of game to be played yet at this point here, but if they can break the base, that means they will equalize the standard map pressure coming in from both sides, because it'll be at least an open inhibitor down on each side, if not a dead inhibitor on the side of Team World Class. That has to be the goal coming in from Team Noah right now. But they're not really pushing terribly well in time at this point.
Yeah, it does look like Team World Class are gonna be depending on a strong Orianna ult to even fight in general by the looks of it. So look for Reese's Cup to be the determining factor yet again for his team in this game. As we see an engage mid on from Mercy Hawk.
Yeah, he is gonna go in on from Mercy Hawk. Is gonna go in straight up. Mercy tried to follow up. Huge shot on the backside, but the flank coming in from Chicken Hunter, trying to do it again. Professor Chaos is still alive. It is still doing a lot of damage. The Antium has fallen, but Math 32A is arrived with all that Kai'Sa damage, diving into the backline with the killer instinct. Is gonna secure the double kill on the backside. Professor Chaos trying to do what he can, but he is all alone against the 4-man left from Noah, as that should be game number one. Going over to the side of Noah.
Absolutely merciless with that flank from Braum and Kai'Sa coming through the tower from behind Team World Class. Absolutely brutal. Nothing that could be done once that play started. Team World Class looking to lose game one. Hopefully they come back, but if not, Noah could be looking to break into the top parts of the group and make it out into playoffs.
Yeah, this is just game one. It is still a best of three.
Game one, not overreacting, of course, but but at the same time, Team World Class, worst team I've ever seen, but
I think it's more of the fact that they are not playing to their comp's win conditions in terms of itemization, in terms of how they're looking to play across the map. They're not playing to how their composition should play in order for them to win the game. Like, their composition is set up as a very heavy siege composition, but they put zero emphasis on the Baron at any point in the game. They have not looked to play 4-1.
They were trying to play vision around it for a little bit before the first one, but then they threw the game. And after that, it has just been complete back foot, zero proactivity. And in that glimpse of proactivity that we saw there in the mid lane, it was way too forced, and it didn't really work for his team. Even though there were glimpses of hope in that fight, overall, it was just terrible.
I mean, the game's still not over till the Nexus explodes, so there's still quite
you never know. Reese's Cup could get a big 5-man Oriole. He's almost level 16, which is a big.
He's still a long way from death cap. Still needs 800 gold. That is the crucial item pickup, because Marlel and Amicon XD. Antum is going to get engaged on here, does have the GA. He is going to get separated, but the Seris Gauge is pop. Happy Hippos is trying to do what he can. A lot of damage coming in. Braum ulti is not going to secure enough damage. Killer Instinct is going to come in. Taka is going to secure the kill. Antum is going to get engaged on by Happy Hippos, but he still has that GA. He's just too tanky. Chicken Hunter is all by himself on the tower. Is going to die in trade, but that's a 4-for-2 trade. Excuse me, a 2-for-1 trade. Still in the favor of Team Noah as they're looking to trying to take this final inhibitor.
Yeah, and that was really bad. Happy Hippos flashed onto Antum there at a point in the fight. And Antum, he might have been sub 30% HP. Happy Hippos had 10% HP, and Antum still had GA. So I don't really know what the plan there was. And this is just an isolated incident from within the fight, but there were many mistakes from the side of Team World Class within that fight, and that's why it was so decisive for Noah. As we are
Yeah,
wrapping up for game 2, and Noah are looking to hopefully, in their view, wrap up the set to Team World Class want to fight back. Of course.
Yeah, Team World Class had everything in their control in the mid game. And then they chose to take a very, very poor fight. They had that bush control
I
warded,
mean,
I
I
want
don't
to
know if I
say.
would call Ori face checking two people who
No,
she
it
knew
was
were there.
control ward. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
control
like she
warded.
knew they
So
were
she
there.
opted into doing that
Yeah,
because she thought, because she had
I mean,
because
she
Happy
had
Hippo
just gotten
and
ganked by
Mercy
them.
Hawk.
She had just gotten ganked by them, and then she sees the bush they go into, and he's like, "All right, this is a great idea. Let me just walk up over here and die." Because I don't know what else you're expecting to happen from walking up into a bush where you just saw people walk into.
Like it was more of the fact that I think she thought that Happy Hippos and everyone else on her team was going to get there a lot faster than they actually did. Because if you go back and watch the fight, there was a collapse coming in from the top side with Mercy Hawk and Happy Hippos, but like you're not going to live long enough for them to do anything unless you instantly max range QR into that bush. Like it was just a very bad decision coming into Reese's that cost his team the game because then everyone's just like, oh, our mid laner died. Let's all go in one by one now.
Yeah, and outside of that, which of course was a terrible mistake, the top lane was absolutely tragic in the matchup. Um, I do feel like Hippo made some mistakes with his build, as do you. But more importantly, like I look at his damage post the game, and he only did twice as much as Braum, who did 2,400. That's not a lot. So hopefully he turns it around in this next game. Or
I mean, he just never fought champions. Like he got camped, he got ganked over and over again, so he was never able to push any timing advantage that he had in that lane to do anything. Like it was good play coming in from the side of Noah. They took a very high risk first pick and then they babysat it up until it hit item timings, and then Team World Class made a mistake in the mid game and they won the game based off that. So that being said, going into game number 2, is there any big things you would like to see from either of these teams before we head to break?
I would like to see Team World Class just completely mental reset, come back in, and try not to throw this time. It's
Okay.
my advice.
And with that being said, we're going to take a short break as we get set up for the second game here, where we see whether or not if Team Noah can make this a clean 2-0 or whether or not Team World Class is going to force us into a game 3. Stay tuned. We'll be just back. Be right back in just a few.
Take a moment right here, feeling like it's out gear. Driving towards the sun with a rose and a gun. Feel the wind in my hair, going nowhere I swear. Like an outlaw on the run, dangerous but it's so fun. Running, running, no. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running, no. Keep running. Told my boss that I'm done. Had no luck with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous.
Alright, I'm back and ready.
And welcome back, everyone, to Dominate Premade week number 2 here for our best of 3 match between Team World Class and Team Noah. It is a best of 3 match, as I stated, with Noah taking game number 1 after Team World Class made some questionable decisions in the mid game, allowing them to take the game in the end here. As you said in the end of the last cast, Muffin, you're wanting Team World Class to clean up their decision making in the mid game and allow themselves to execute their composition a little bit better. But is there anything that you would like to see in particularly coming in from them in the draft phase that would give them a better chance coming into this game?
Well, this is on the get-go. The Sejuani is a takeaway from Noah, who had this game, as well as, you know, a jack of all trades engaged champion. So looking good from the get-go from Team World Class, but also opening themselves up to a potential big jungle counter pick. I'm not exactly sure how deep Chicken Hunter's champ pool is, but it looks like he is going towards the Nunu, which, I mean, like, I don't think Nunu's a bad champion, and I think Nunu's stronger than Sedge in the 1v1 at least, but I feel like you could have gone for something a little bit more aggressive, something that's going to get a little more payback against the Sejuani.
Personally, I'm a big fan of doing
I like Kane, for example.
Kane's one of my personal favorites. It's something that my team runs from time to time. It's not a huge pick priority for us, but it is something when we're looking for a little bit more carry potential in the jungle role, we would look to opt into that. However, something that Nunu is incredibly good at doing is he is far and away the best lane ganking jungler in the game.
Yeah, and we have the addition of Mordekaiser here onto Team World Class's team comp. So already, you know, Sejuani, Mordekaiser, that's a lot of pressure, that's a lot of CC. And with the Sivir to boot, now they have ult that makes you run fast at the end of the team. Also a good matchup into game.
Yeah, essentially how Caitlyn and Sivir works is whoever gets lane control decides how the lane plays out. If Caitlyn has lane control, Caitlyn can keep Sivir under tower, auto her and harass her to death, and forestall her from getting her BF sword. Because once Sivir gets BF sword, Caitlyn can't keep wave priority over Sivir anymore because Sivir Q W's the wave and the wave disappears.
Yeah, and as we get into the second phase of bans, this is where Team World Class will lose their bans, it seems, as they had 2 emergency subs in the first game, which is why they lost 4 bans. Both of these E-subs are Hippopotamus and Happy Hippos in the top lane and Professor Chaos as the ADC. So these are the reason for their ban losses. Going forward, but they definitely banned this Yasuo and this Ari. So now 2 bans that they directed at the top lane. I know we're a little bit late on this, but it is something to point out that they are respecting 2 of the champions that Noah picked in the last game.
Yeah, they are trying to take away some of the playmaking potential that came in on the side of Noah in the last game, which I do like seeing adaptations in draft. Albeit when you actually have bans, that does certainly make a difference here. I am curious though, as Noah has thrown the same 4 bans in both these games.
Yeah, I'm
So
not
they must
surprised that Malphite and Zoe are being banned. Malphite being Hippo's most played champion, and Zoe being an unfun champion to play against, and near Reese's Cup's most played, as well as a very high win rate on that champion. So not surprised to see those 2 banned. This J4 being consistent is a little bit surprising, but it is what it is. As Noah ready up to pick a champion after the ban phase, and it is Renekton by the looks of it. Would be a very
Renekton
strong lane bully.
would give him a lane bully and a very easy lane to play around.
Well, not necessarily. Well, if it's Mordekaiser top, how does that play out? Is that Mord favored or is that Renekton favored? Because I know Mord is very strong, at least in the mid lane against all those melee champions. So I'm curious to see how that transfers into the top lane against Renekton.
I mean, assuming it is Mordekaiser top, I would still favor Renekton in that matchup just because Renekton wins almost every melee matchup just because if played to his fullest potential, because he can dictate when trades happen, he can control the pace of the lane, and it's incredibly difficult for Mordekaiser to ever hit Renekton with his E, and that's kind of like a huge part of his kit.
Right.
But obviously, if gank pressure goes up into that lane, if Renekton falls behind, he doesn't get to do anything.
Yeah, now we have Nautilus and Syndra. So Team World Class, they had Caitlyn Morgana last game, and apparently that's not enough CC because now they're bringing Nautilus, Syndra, Sejuani, Mordekaiser. This is an absolute treasure trove of CC as Mordekaiser is confirmed to be going top lane, most likely into this Renekton matchup. And we have Syndra into LeBlanc in the mid lane. I prefer Syndra in that matchup. Maybe Taka is very comfortable in the LeBlanc in that matchup. That's a very skill and inclusive matchup. Very reaction based on Syndra at times, but it can also leave a lot of openings for the LeBlanc if the Syndra misplays and wastes her abilities. So we'll be looking for what could potentially be a very exciting mid lane this game.
It's a very skill reliant matchup. Like, it's if LeBlanc misplays, she can get punished by Syndra. If Syndra misplays, LeBlanc can punish Syndra. One of the things that we do need to keep in mind is that LeBlanc does have her passive to negate a potential 100-0 all-in at level 6 from Syndra ulti because of her passive. So that's always something you do need to keep in mind in this matchup.
That does work up to an extent, right? Like if LeBlanc's Wing forward to go for a fight and Syndra just blasts her and she goes back to her W, like you know which one's which, and you know that they're trying to get away. It's not too hard.
I'm saying it's just from a damage mitigation standpoint.
Oh, I got you.
Like I'm not like it's relatively easy to tell the difference between the two.
Yeah, we are confirming that it is Renekton to Mordekaiser up in the top lane. Definitely gonna be interesting top lane. One that is starting to come up as Renekton is really starting to crop up and rise in priority in all regions as a top laner. It's just on that cusp of being OP, but not exactly there yet. So very excited to see how this Renekton plays out. Especially as a
Yeah,
Mordekaiser who's not fun to
it,
play against.
it's just gonna be a dependent upon to see how the matchup plays out. Like in my head, in paper, I would favor the Renekton, but it's still probably relatively a skill-based matchup because Mordekaiser can mitigate a lot of the damage with the sustain from his W.
See, like that's what I think, right? Like Renekton goes in, Mord's just gonna pop his W and trade fine against Renekton. I am gonna be against you on this. I do think this matchup, even if it's just slightly, will favor the Mordekaiser. Plus, the Mordekaiser's itemization is so much better. You're getting that Rylai's, you're getting that Leandry's. You'll be burning Renekton as he builds his HP bruiser items in Cleaver and Shojin. If Renekton doesn't build Shojin, I'm gonna die. How are we gonna have
Pretty much every
yeah,
pretty
how
much
are we gonna have a
every
Renekton and
Renekton.
well, every Jax builds Shojin too, dude. Like,
Well, the thing is that almost every professional player who is playing Renekton goes Shojin first item.
up. I mean, that's the way to do it. Big damage. Alright. Does seem talking about looking at this jungle matchup, I do think Nunu has the ability to take a lot of advantage out of Sejuani now that I take a closer look at this, because he has Renekton in the top lane, LeBlanc in the mid lane, and Caitlyn Morgana in the bot. Theoretically, on paper, he should have every lane with with lane priority. All of his matchups should be in control, so he should be able to really punish Mercy Hawk this game if he takes advantage of that.
I agree, but again, as in every matchup, it comes down to execution at the end of the day because we can see pretty much anything happen in League of Legends. If a player is just better than someone, he can win out the match.
Yeah, just be better.
Yeah.
Just be better.
Like I mean, there's only so much like the draft can do because at the end of the day, it comes down to the players playing, and you try to get your players in the best positions to win. And like again, Noah has a very aggressive early game composition with a lot of playmaking potential across the board, which they had in the last game, but they also sacrifice a lot of late game potential because Renekton's not a great scaling champion, LeBlanc's not a great scaling champion. Like a lot of their scaling is going to be in their Caitlyn, and the Caitlyn dips really hard right when the LeBlanc and Renekton are spiking. So it's going to take some finesse from them to play properly. While on the other side, you have a very solid team fight composition coming in from the side of TWC. But if they're not making good decisions, it doesn't matter if they have a better team composition.
Yeah, and some things to point out now that we're in the spectator delay. Sivra has taken TP and Syndra has taken heal, while on the other hand, LeBlanc has taken ignite and Caitlyn's, regular with the heal. But, a mismatch in the bot lane and a mismatch in the mid lane could prove to both be points of contentions for both teams. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that as we get into the game, but we'll be taking a short break due to the spectator delay, and we will see you guys very soon.
And welcome back, everyone, to Dominate Premade Week number 2. We are back with this best of 3 match between Team World Class and Noah, where Noah currently sits at a 1-0 advantage in terms of the series. They had a very good performance in the first game, but it's a new game, a new map. Let's see what's going to happen.
Yeah, and right off the get-go, we see a different level 1. Team World Class sent one mid for the scrimmage line to show that as if they were all normal, business as usual. But obviously that is not the case. Team World Class is a 4-man stack walking through Noah's red side jungle, and they haven't found anyone yet. They're putting down some vision, somewhat, and they might face check into Anthem here. Oh, I think Anthem saw him. Why is... Okay, Anthem's out. Nothing happens. Level 1 was nice and safe, no risk whatsoever, of course. And we're breaking off into what seems to be a normal laning phase, and Mercy Hawk is going to be starting at his red buff. By the looks of it.
Yeah, the invade is real curious in my opinion, because like you could have laid down vision to guarantee you knew where the dude was starting. One little adaptation I do want to note is the Mana Pies did pick up the Guardian on the Morgana for this game, which I do like into these more all-in matchups, especially ones that are heavily reliant upon your Black Shield.
Yeah, it's definitely a non-common flavor that could definitely pay off, as he will be quite a bit beefier. Most likely has bone plating, though actually if he has bone plating, that's just going to go away on cooldown to the Sivir W. But we have an early gank in the bot lane, as Professor Chaos does not have spell shield yet, as he's still level 1. Everyone is still level 1 in the bot lane.
Yeah, that was a little bit early coming in. Like, Nunu to make that gank really work. Like, yes, he's a good lane ganking champion, but the lane's pushing in to Professor Chaos and straight up Merkin, so like there's no reason for them to be even far enough forward that a situation where the Nunu snowball would work. If he went for a wraparound gank, it would be much more likely, as we are going to see a little bit of invade here. Chicken Hunter and Mercy Hawk fighting over the all-important Raptor camp.
Yeah, Raptor camp absolutely crucial to Sejuani, as Sejuani obliterates it, and it is so much XP. Straight up murking, getting away from that binding with a hook of his own, but still taking quite a bit of damage.
Scumbag Chaos there taking the cannon minion from his support.
Yeah, you know, that screw your support, man. You gotta get that money.
Hey, I'm a support main. Things like that tilt me.
Come on, dude. Literally, if there's even a 10% chance that someone else will get the support gold instead of me, I'm taking that minion. Like, there's 0 chance, I'm risking it. But as we see this develop, definitely a 5 CS gap in the bot lane, and they have already used they have already used their potions. At least Professor Chaos used his. Still has a biscuit. Top lane also down his potion, but he is much closer in CS, and this looks to be on his side of the lane, so he should be fairly safe from ganks there. On the other hand, mid lane is also panning out fairly close. From the trades we've seen in the mid lane, it does look like the damage is being traded equally, even though the mana trade is going in Taka 12's favor so far. As we continue in the bot lane, Mana Pies and Math 32A looking very consistent, very comfortable on this Caitlyn Morgana, setting up a good zone. As we see Professor Chaos on the Sivir get more items, we will see his situation improve greatly as his wave rate improves.
Yeah, he just needs to farm up till he hits about that 40 CS mark, so that way he can get his BF sword and TP back in the lane, because that's another reason why they have to play so passively, is they're down a combat summoner. We do have Mercy Hawk in the area, but he is going to get spotted out by a ward, so not much is going to come of his attempted gank.
And we see Electric Cube being popped in the mid lane, as well as Taka 12's passive, but Reese's Cup is completely And he will be applying no more pressure until he recalls.
Yeah, he has no more charges of that corrupting part either. Anthem
in the top, looking very bursty in both directions. When Anthem is doing damage, it looks like he's crushing, and same when Hippo is doing damage. So we shall see how that continues. It does look like
but Anthem's crushing the CS department.
Oh yeah, that has definitely grown over these last couple minutes since we did that first CS check. Happy Hippos has only gotten 3 CS since then, and Anthem has gotten 17. To put into context how big of a CS difference he has grown there in such a short amount of time.
20 CS in the top lane, almost 20 CS in the bot lane.
And support gold there, Man of Pi is really flexing and getting that cash money.
Oh, Chicken Hunter is going to get flash hooked into his death as First Blood is going to go over to straight up Merkin. Both his summoners being burned for that play. It looks like they are going to be able to secure the Earth Drake on their backside, which is also pretty nice to pick up in the early game because that means
especially against Nunu
that much earlier.
Yeah, to be able to punish Nunu for really doing what he's supposed to do at that point, which is to sneak a Drake. It's nice of them to see that coming, be prepared for it, and punish it all in one go. Getting that First Blood, even if it costs them both of his summoners, it's well worth it. Getting a nice Mountain Drake to help his team out, as a Mountain Drake is really good at all points of the game, especially if you get it right from the get-go, as it'll help you get plates in the laning phase, and then it'll help you take down all the neutral objectives as the game develops.
Yeah, gonna be just kind of a little bit more touch and go here for a while, because with Summoners being down on straight up Merkin, they don't really have any potential to play aggressive in that lane. But with Professor Chaos now having his BF sword, it should mean that CS gap shouldn't grow too much more.
Yeah, looking at Anthem's items, I'm pretty sure that you don't need
Black
that
Cleaver.
second health crystal. Yeah, so it does look like
Going
he's
Black
to
Cleaver.
Cleaver.
Oh, the knockup is going to land onto Reese's Cup, and that is just going to be a dead Syndra here. And one of the things that I have noticed about Reese's Cup on this Syndra is he has been bleeding mana left, right, and center here. And, like, yes, it's important to be trading in mid lane effectively, but he doesn't seem to be trading as effectively as he was in the last game on the Orianna.
Looks like Happy Hippo's learning something about the matchup as it plays out, as he is now throwing his E backwards to throw the Renekton away from him when he goes in. But speaking on that mid lane, Reese's Cup almost making it out of that if only his E had also hit the Nunu, as it was just barely missing him. It would have interrupted the snowball, and it likely would have given him time to get away. But without that knockup hitting him, he's dead. And we have a nice little lead in the mid lane for Taka 12, as Chicken Hunter looks to deny Reese's Cup's blue, which as you pointed out, he burns through his mana real quick. So that definitely does not look like something he's going to be happy about.
I mean, he does have the Lost Chapter, so his mana problems are going to be a little bit more manageable here in the mid lane now, because he is going to get the Minotaur on cooldown. He has the X on level up, excuse me. So things are going to be a little bit better for him in the mid lane. But I don't think the side of Noah really has taken enough advantage.
I mean, I don't know about that.
Early.
Yeah, it's still early, like you said, but the top lane really is going so well for them that it's hard to say that they're not grabbing an advantage when it looks so one-sided.
But they have a 600 gold advantage in top lane, and they only have a 300 gold advantage, 200 gold advantage across the map. So
yeah, and that's really because of Mercy Hawk's pathing. It looks like he's gotten significantly more gold out of the jungle. Even though there was pressure mid onto Cup, he also looks like he's even in gold. So it's definitely looking pretty interesting here, as Team World Class are in danger in the mid lane? No. Okay. But the bot lane is getting expanded on them. The Caitlyn Morgana really punishing Professor
Not
Chaos.
really. It's been hovering around the 17 point. Reese's Cup is going to get the knockaway, but it's not going to matter.
Oh, look at this counter.
counter gank coming in is going to secure the kill onto Taka 12. Reese's Cup is going to come in. Flashes being burned by both junglers, as that's going to be a double kill over to Mercy Hawk, as that is one tanky Sejuani that the side of Noah is going to have to deal with a lot of gold going on to him early.
Yeah, we were just talking about how good Mercy Hawk has been pathing. You can see the jungle difference in farm. And he just absolutely blasted Chicken Hunter there in that counter gank, landing that ultimate onto Taka 12, which was immediately followed up by Reese's Cup with a full combo, absolutely evaporating him. And managing to pick up Chicken Hunter and his double buffs afterwards, as Anthem is going very aggressive in the bot lane.
Anthem's going in the aggressive bot lane, but
you can't reactivate E. You can't. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Professor Chaos.
Okay, so for those who don't know, the only way Sivir stops Morgana ulti is if she spell shields the initial cast of it.
Yeah, it doesn't work on the second half. It does work on Zillion, but not, and also Tristana, but it does not work against Morgana. So, or Karma, mind you.
Yes, Karma, it's the same thing. So straight up Merkin is gonna body block the snowball. Nice little sidestep by Chicken Hunter, but a TP is coming in from Anthem up at the top. Like Professor Chaos is extremely low, but thankfully Anthem's far enough away that nothing is going to come of it. So that's a teleport burn for nothing getting out of it. I mean,
wow, they did get the Sivir flash, and it does look like they're trying to convert onto this Mountain Drake. But as we've already stated, Team World Class already got. Yeah, they've already gotten a Mountain Drake through the earlier play, and now they're just top. They're gonna push for plates here, like you mentioned, the Herald. So this is gonna be a lot of gold going into the pockets of Team World Class, and we could look at a very real lead being formed here. As well as, more importantly, gold is going into Happy Hippo's pockets. It's going to help him get to that Rylai's point so that he can better control range against Anthem. Obviously, to a point. But, you know, bit by bit, he will be slowly finding himself in a better position in 2v1.
Yeah, like, it's just a lot of scaling to come through on the side of TWC right now, and they're sitting at a 3,000 gold, almost a 3,000 gold advantage.
Yeah, 2,500 gold, very significant. They also managed to get a plate in the bot lane and mid overall, just generally. They have gotten obviously all 5 plates top lane as the tower fell before 14 minutes.
Yes, so a lot of gold coming in here for the side of TWC, but Taka is going to get engaged on once again. Does have to burn the flash to get away.
As well as the ult. So he's going to have to be a little bit more passive in mid lane.
Oh, Chicken Hunter is going to go for the point blank snowball onto nice stun is going to come in onto Chicken Hunter. Ultimate. Oh,
yikes. That was a waste of ult Reese's Cup. Mercy Hawk just blew up Chicken Hunter there with that E-auto.
I don't think the E-auto smite. That's what it was.
Oh yeah, that was a lot of damage from a Cinder Hulk. That's a just Cinder Hulk move. That's definitely more damage than anyone was expecting. I think especially Chicken Hunter, though he was dead no matter what. But that was surprising.
Yeah, that would be.
I do agree with you now that I take a closer look at it. It does seem like it is stabilized at a 17 CS difference. And now that we have Essence Reaver onto the Sivir, it is looking like it's going to be a lot stronger push out of the bot lane. As Sejuani is floating around the bot lane, although they don't really have much vision control either in the river or in the bot jungle. That definitely looks to be a weakness, and it looks like Noah are looking to take advantage of it with Renekton in the bot lane right now.
Yeah, they're trying to further accelerate this advantage that they do have on this Renekton, but I mean, without having the Stojin, like his playmaking potential at this point in the game is still quite low, because even though he does have massive advantage over the Mordekaiser in terms of CS, like his effective gold difference is 0.
Okay, I'm definitely upset that Mord is going Morellos here. All right, just go Rylai's, dude. What the hell? What is this?
Yeah.
Oh, Rylai's Leandry. What is this? item in your
Yeah.
inventory. Get rid of this. Oh my god, that hurts. That hurts. The mid lane, neither one has managed to finish Luden's Echo just yet. If Reese's Cup had gotten any of those kills, I'm sure he would have finished his by now. But due to his 3 assists, that is certainly not the case. On the other hand, the carry Mercy Hawk in the jungle has gotten Deadmans, and he's using it right now on Anti's top lane.
Yeah, Chicken Hunter is here, but they have a level advantage in their favor here. There's a lot of damage. Nice Q is going to give Antium a lot of healing. The flash is going to come through, but the Bola is going to come in, keeping him alive. Hippos does fall on the other side as both top laners are dead, and Mercy Hawk, so incredibly healthy, is doing a fair bit of damage on the Chicken Hunter. Here comes the Cinder. The Cinder is going to go for the flash ult. Not going to. Oh my god. Damage.
Yo, outplayed, clearly.
Oh, that's in the other side of the map. Professor Chaos secures the kill. On to Man of Pies with that max range Boomerang Blade, as Mercy Hawk is just putting in so much work in this game. Flash hook onto the Caitlyn as Math 32A is ignited, is going to burn the heal, is going to try to get out of range, is going to be able to do so. But that's all the summoners down onto Caitlyn, while the bot lane was able to secure the Coward. Just excellent play coming in from the side of TWC in this game.
And for the first time in the game, Professor Chaos has more CS than Math 32A, and I don't think that is going to change anytime soon. We're likely to see Sivir getting many resources pumped into her as the game progresses. And what is this dragon that is going to spawn? This is going to be a Cloud Drake. So I think that favors TWC a little bit more due to them having the Sivir. It's nice for Nunu as well, but it's really not the most impressive dragon that could spawn. It might just be given up for even a single tower. So I'm not expecting too much out of this dragon, but who knows, we might have all 10 people fighting for it because they want to go fast. This top lane continues to be very problematic here for Happy Hippos. Not having the wave near his tower means it's very dangerous for him to walk up. And
yeah, but they are
Mercy Hawk over for help.
Yeah, they're just trying to punish this Renekton. He is going to go into the Dominus. It's going to eat a lot of damage between these two. He's just going to get CC'd for Dage. Happy Hippo securing the kill on the back side of it. Mid lane's he's also eating a lot of damage. We do have the snowball coming in, and it is going to get dodged so cold. Mercy Cup, Reese's Cup is going to eat a lot of damage. It's going to get bursted down. However, straight up Merkin is here. Professor Chaos is still here as well. Here comes the flank from Mercy Cup. So much damage coming in onto Chicken Hunter. Chicken Hunter is just going to die. Mana Pies is going to fall on the back side as well, as it turns to a 2-for-1 while the chase is coming in.
Taka, no!
Taka had his live flash before his eyes right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh no, Taka. So what happened there is that Taka like W'd like 50 units into the wall, so he didn't make it over. So he had to flash over it instead. That's absolutely tragic. And that fight was even more tragic for Noah, as Team World Class are now taking both the Dragon, and they have already taken the outer and the mid lane, and could potentially... No, they're not going to get the second one, but they did do a lot of damage to it, which is significant in and of itself.
You could almost say Team World Class is actually performing up to their moniker right now.
Yeah, I agree, except for this Morello's rush out of Mordekaiser, which... Yeah.
Just don't talk about it.
Like,
Go away.
I can understand, like, you want to, like, reduce healing from Renekton somewhat, like, but he didn't go Conqueror, so he's just healing off Q. So I don't really get it. Yeah, let's just... Okay. Sejuani, though. Sejuani items are always exciting. It looks like he's now building Warmogs. Isn't that an exciting item?
Oh, yeah, that's 10 out of 10 stuff.
Sivir is going for the full damage build, which is you go Essence Reaver into IE. You do a lot more damage. You rely more on your auto reset, so you have to do that consistently, where you auto and then you W immediately, as well as using your abilities, of course.
Also, small point that a lot of people forget is Sivir Ultimate does still give her passive attack speed.
Yeah, she doesn't have to be ulting. Just by having her Ricochet active, she gets bonus attack speed from her ultimate passive.
Yeah, so even though she's not building attack speed, she still has a lot of damage available in her kit at this point. So definitely
this is
sitting at a
great.
strong point.
All right, Happy Hippos did not finish Morello. He got Riley.
Hallelujah.
Man after my own heart.
Hallelujah.
All right, so that's definitely looking really nice. I love that. And this definitely going to make it easier for Mercy Hawk to continue to punish Anthem for existing. As we see an engage in Sivir ult, and that's a death. That's immediately dead on Protect. Nothing else seems to develop this play yet as Team World Class move towards the mid lane to finish up the tower that they had gotten low earlier. And they move deeper in. Reese's Cup not having much issue killing Taka through his passive, as you were afraid he might have trouble, showing that he has a lot of comfort in the matchup.
Yeah, it just depends on when the ultimate comes through and how much damage is left available on the ultimate.
Yeah, Reese's Cup, the Cinder is one of his best champions, so I'm not surprised to see him have so much consistent, damage and knowing when he can use his ult onto Taka to ensure he dies, which has happened every time that he's gotten ulted in these fights. When Reese's Cup ults Taka, Taka's dead. So definitely shows strength in the player.
I do find it interesting that he did also go with on an entirely unrelated note, that he chose the Justicar Cinder skin. Considering all the new skins Cinder has gotten recently, like that skin has kind of fallen out of favor because that was her original skin.
It's definitely the OG skin, so don't see that very often these days, as you were noting, because there's so many skins now. This one's kind of
Star Guardian, there's SKT.
Oh, we gotta engage on Nunu maybe? No, just a little bit of damage, spooking him. And one thing that I'm interested in is straight up Merkin's build. He's got this giant spell and chain vest. I'm not sure if he's gonna, go for something greedy like Deadman's or something. That would be a mistake in my opinion. And while he's also got the stopwatch, so he's not ready to recall yet, but when he does, it's something to look at and his items there to make sure that he's not exactly making a greedy mistake with his build.
Yeah. There's still a lot that can deviate. Like he's trying to get important items come through to try to be a frontline to try to get damage out on the table, but he's just such behind the curve right now.
Yeah, I just feel like he's just secondary frontline at this point. Like he's got Mercy Hawk, the most fed member on his team, by the way, who's just massive on this Sejuani. He's got Happy Hippos, who's no joke himself on Mordekaiser. He's quite hard to kill. So I don't know how heavily he has to these more greedy items just to be tanky. I do feel like he can continue to be selfless for his team. I would have liked to have seen a locket first from him.
Yeah, I'm not really ever a fan of supports not building support items because support items are broken.
They are. They're really broken.
There was a Reddit post about it the other day about how support items are the most broken items of the game because they do so much and they're all very, very cheap items.
Yeah, I mean, like, Spooky Ghost is super cheap. It's technically a support item. That's why it's so cheap. And
it's like 2,400 gold, I think, is Spooky Ghost.
Yeah, and like almost single-handedly makes Glacier viable. Like that's how good Spooky Ghost. It's nuts. It's nuts. All right, we see a nice little early Baron here. A little risky because of the Nunu, and they are privy to it. They're coming over. Yeah, they're coming over. They're not gonna give this up for free. Gonna need more pressure from Happy Hippos in the bottom lane, but I don't think. While he has closed that CS gap quite a bit, it used to be sitting around 50 when he was at 98 CS to 140. Anthem has remained at 140 CS, and Happy Hippos has now caught up to 114 CS. So definitely getting brighter over there for him. And I do think it's going to be shortly enough for him to consistently 1v1 Anthem, as he has not yet managed
I
to
don't think
acquire
this
that
Renekton
Shojin.
has moved for like 60 seconds.
Is he? Yeah. Okay. As we see in the chat, can we pause for a sec? Renekton's having technical difficulties. so Renekton is getting caught up to in farm, only because of technical difficulties. Of course, it's not because he is dying to these ganks, which are starting to become more and more telegraphed as they keep coming in. And it's also not because he's sacrificing his lead to try to get his team going, which is certainly not happening so far.
Yeah, I just thought it was interesting that the second I said something like that, chat bot said something
Yeah, no,
about
that
it.
was quick. I think you noticed faster than their team. So definitely something to be proud of, in my opinion.
My one shining moment of the day, guys. You have been witness to it. But as we are in a pause, let's take a second, take a quick little look at our gold coming in across the table here. We are sitting at just over a 7,000 gold advantage for the side of Team World Class here right now. But if we look at the individual gold matchups, 1,200 in the top lane, 2,000 in the jungle, 1,600, 1,300 in the mid lane, 1,300 in the AD carry, and 1,300 in the support role. So there's a pretty standard gold difference across the board. So they're not like super indexed into onto one person in terms of their gold advantage, which is encouraging to see, because if that one person were to say be a carry and they die in a team fight, like it drastically shifts the course of a team fight in their favor.
One thing that I really like is that the gold. This is not something that we would say every game, but Mercy Hawk has a large portion of his team's gold advantage, and it is really paying off since he's engaging all the fights. You can see his advantage present at most of these fights. So it's definitely showing the teamwork that this team is capable of playing around. To be able to work around so that a tank having a gold lead is massive influence for their team instead of a drawback.
Yeah, because it's one thing to have a fed tank, and had said fed tank not do anything, the number of times this happens, and the times that I'm off-rolled at the top lane in solo queue, I can count on none of my hands, because it happens almost every time because I play tank top lane. But it doesn't matter because I have a like 0 and 8 mid laner or something, and like you can't enable so much. Like there is still some sort of baseline variance you need from the rest of your team to snowball the game effectively as a tank. Like,
yeah, 100%.
like it's not...
Since we're here, Nautilus building Deadmans, so he is looking to just
I'm crying.
Yeah, I'm sad.
crying.
Yeah, just build Locket, man. Come on.
Just build Locket, build Zeke's, build...
I don't know, like
build Knight's Vow. I don't know. You can build any number of items.
build Redemption, like build not that. I definitely cry every time. It's like it's almost as bad as like when your support builds Sunfire. It's like why do you do this to me?
Especially Sunfire, because that's like one of the least gold efficient, like in and of itself.
Yeah, just
armor
raw
items in the
stats
games.
wise, yeah. Oh man. We're reaching 4 minutes with this pause, ladies and gentlemen. It's been quite a long one. But we will hopefully be back in game soon, as Team World Class is setting us up for what could potentially be a game 3, as long as they don't throw again. So why don't we take a look at what really led to the loss last game, which was an impromptu face check of a bush by Reese's Cup. There really hasn't been an equivalent of that moment so far this game, and I really feel it's because Noah has zero proactivity going. I don't feel like they're being proactive in the side lanes. I don't feel like their jungle's being very proactive in and of himself. And Taka 12 is just completely shut down on this LeBlanc. Every time he goes in, he's getting blasted. So it's
Yeah, he's either getting Syndra stunned,
yeah.
Nautilus hooked, Nautilus ulted, Sejuani ulted. Like they picked a heavy mid game comp, and
they're kind of hitting the end of their power curve where they can effectively fight their composition because their item timings are still relative, but the issue is that eventually it's going to get to the point where it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and we're finally out of the pause, so we can see this beautiful game that has been slowly developing for us. And Morgana has gone the Mobies into the Zonias. I wish she had pink words in her inventory, but maybe it's just straight up black into gold right now for such a cheap purchase, which just goes to show
She doesn't have a lot of gold.
Yeah. Attack at
I mean,
12.
she has 4,000. She has 5,100 gold right now total in the game.
So Morgana should maybe spend that gold that she is sitting on, as her team is down about as much gold as she's sitting on in her inventory.
No, that's total gold she's earned in the game.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. See,
Yeah.
that's
total
that
gold.
makes a lot more sense. I'm like, how is Morgana?
Oh, but here comes the Sejuani ultimate onto the Caitlyn. Nautilus ultimate is going to follow up, forcing the Caitlyn completely out of the fight as Chicken Hunter becomes fried chicken for the side of TWC with the new dead. That's going to be an easy Baron start coming in for TWC.
Yeah, and you can see that Team World Class is pedal to the metal when engage is happening. Straight up Merking having no hesitation to flash that wall to back up Mercy Hawk's engage. No hesitation, and that's why it was so successful for them. And we see a nice quick Baron take. They have a Mountain Drake, they have an Infernal Drake, now they have a Baron buff, and they're looking to really cement this game and bring it to game 3.
Yes, they have pressure inside lanes. They have a mid lane wave that's easy for them to push in. They have all the cards in their favor right now to get a lot out of this initial play on Baron, reset, and get off another push here, as it looks like their core 3 in the support and bot lane, support and mid lane, support, AD carry, and mid lane, all basic for item timings. As we see a Zeal and a needlessly large rod coming in for the mid lane and AD carry respectively. They still have about 2+ minutes left on this Baron. I'd really like to see them potentially push for a base break on this, but the minimum we should see is the tier 2s and the side lanes fall.
Yeah, I don't even know if they should even try to even care about these tier 2s. Like, I don't know if they should just ram it down middle and just force that tower out with this massive Mercy Hawk Sejuani tank. I feel like he could tank inhib tower without really much of an issue. So I feel like almost just doing that and forcing this massive lead that they've built could be something they could go for, but it looks like they're just gonna go for both of the side lane towers. We see 3 top, 1 mid, and 1 bot, with Mercy Hawk being mid lane, and of course Happy Hippos in the bot lane.
Oh, but Mercy Hawk is gonna try to get collapsed on,
yeah,
but the
he's
slow
beefcake. Like, he's got Deadman's, he's got a stopwatch too. He's also got you're not hitting time, he's just gonna heal back while you're chasing him. So I don't feel like he is the right person to chase in any capacity. If anything, engage top, because you can't really go for Ward either. He's just gonna ult one of you and 1v1 that guy. So this is definitely looking a lot more difficult for Noah. I don't really see many holes that they could take advantage of. There's no Orianna ult equivalent as to last game where, one ult could be game changing. I really haven't seen this LeBlanc have a huge impact in any of these fights, and I don't think if he even one-shots Syndra at this point, if it'll even matter.
Yeah, probably not through Morello HP and Merc Treads. Like, their basically best bet is a Miracle Binding onto a Squishy.
And we see the Baron Dub Cannon Minion taking mid tower, and they are now pressuring.
They're trying to get onto the Mordekaiser. He's going to get flash stun, but he just pulls the Sejuani. But the double kill, there's a double kill instantly for Reese's Cup. Professor Chaos securing the kill onto 32 again, into a double kill onto Antium, and it ends up being a triple double coming in for the carries of TWC, as that's going to be the base, and game number 3 being forced here by TWC.
Yeah, definitely showing that they are able to not throw the game this time around. TWC showing a consistent snowball all the way from the start to the finish. all the way from that first blood where straight up Merking managed to get the Sejuani with his, the Nunu with his Ignite. But that's game 2, and I gotta say, Mercy Hawk really putting up a clinic on Sejuani this game, almost making the champion look like an alpha champion, though not quite. You know, it's
Almost.
almost. But definitely very impressive for Mercy Hawk. Straight up Merking following up on a lot of those engages super well. But he wasn't really starting the fights. It was all about Mercy Hawk and his ultimates on the Sejuani. And he really took
I
a
don't
shit.
think I don't think I saw him miss an ultimate this game.
No, unlike last game where there was that miss on Oriana mid. Yeah, we we remember.
Albeit the Sejuani was on the other team last time.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Chicken Hunter definitely looking a lot weaker on the Nunu. We could see the Sejuani being a point of contention in this third game, where Noah does have blue side. So we'll see how that plays out and how that will impact the series, as Team World Class will have some bans to actually throw this time around when Noah's on blue side. But that's it for game 2, ladies and gents, and we shall see you for game 3.
And welcome back, everyone, to this deciding game number 3 matchup between TWC and Noah here, with Noah going back onto the blue side here for this week number 2 Dominate Premade match. I am Primus alongside Muffin. We've had 2 very different games, I would say, between the last 2 games. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, well, I'd say the biggest difference between the 2 of them is the second act. So the first act was pretty much the same. Team World Class gets going, has a strong early game, and transitions that into strong map play. We see Noah pick up the Sejuani ban, and drop the J4 ban so that they can first pick it. Just gonna notate that. But definitely have seen very similar early games, but very drastically different mid games. Last game, Noah didn't manage to get any tempo going during the mid game, and they really felt it. This time around, they're hoping that with J4 on their side and Sejuani off the table for Mercy Hawk, they can get the lead. As Echo is picked, Echo has seen some buffs recently. He's a very strong jungler as well as mid laner right now, so this is already a flex pick on the table. And I will note that he is quite good at dueling a J4, as Jarvan has really no way to lock down an Echo unless Echo chooses to be locked.
Yeah, because Echo is one of those champions where you get as much out of him as you have inherent skill in these champions. Because LS has said this multiple times recently that there is a professional Chinese player who only plays Echo on the Korean server on one of his accounts, and he hovers in high challenger around 800 LP with a 60 to 65% win rate, only playing Echo.
Yeah, that guy's actually really fun to watch if you haven't watched him. He does his ult when he gets level 6 until the millisecond he's gonna use it, because it doesn't show the shadow to his opponents, so he can catch him off guard, and he's played so much Echo that he doesn't need it. So that's probably my favorite thing about watching him play. He's really impressive. And we see Ziggs picked up here by the side of Team World Class. So they have Caitlyn, Ziggs, and Echo. The Echo most likely going mid at this point. Theoretically could go top, though I find it unlikely for Happy Hippos to take him top lane, especially after such inconsistent showings in the first 2 games. He didn't really get going in the second game until Mercy Hawk came over.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see how this Ziggs is going to play out, because it has been banned from TWC in both of the previous 2 games. They are going to give up the Morgana bot lane matchup pairing that they had in the last game with the Caitlyn for it, though. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Team World Class replaced the Morgana with something like a Nami, just have some control bot lane, Karma, something like that. We'll see how it plays out, but I'm expecting a lane-focused range support to come out of Team World Class's bot lane, and probably just some beta tank top lane to come out later in the draft.
Yeah, because Noah's got a really, really strong team fight composition set up here, but they stacked their bottom lane matchup for it.
Okay, so Janna. Okay, so this makes sense to a degree. With Janna, I mean, I don't think there's many better supports for protecting Caitlyn and Ziggs other than Janna. You can do so much for your backline as Janna. Having said that, though, Janna's become one of those champs that you really have to know what you're doing on. So I hope Straight Up Merkin can put up a performance and show that he knows what he's doing on Janna.
Yeah,
because when you have a bad Janna and they're just they just shield bots, it's so boring and you're really uninspired. And it's definitely not you're better off picking Lulu if that's what you're gonna do, right? If you're gonna pick Janna, you have to be more active with your abilities than just to shield. And we do see the Mordekaiser again.
Yeah, Mordekaiser coming in once again. It's gonna get bullied quite a bit by the Kennen up in the top lane matchup, but I mean, it does give them additional team fight potential because, they have a very Wombo combo team fight composition setup coming in from Noah. So if you pull one of the Wombo combo pieces out of the team fight, you have a chance to just win the team fight base of that as
we have Taka 12 leave during the draft. Oh, he got a client bug, so they're just restarting the draft. Nothing serious. Yeah, I am curious. Like we were talking about the Echo being a flex pick. Technically, the Mordekaiser is a flex towards as well. So we're still not 100% sure where those two are going. But if it is the Kennen top against Mordekaiser, that's definitely going to favor Kennen, at least until level 6, where Mordekaiser might have some all-in potential through the fact that he can just trap Kennen and Kennen can't run away from him anymore. But we'll see if that is if that's enough. I don't think this is going to be very easy for Happy Hippos in the top lane.
Yeah, it's not a fun matchup. Never, ever is it fun playing a melee champion into Kennen, just because of the amount of damage and threat potential he can put out towards you. Is just not a fun space to be in. Like, Mordekaiser does have at least some pushback into the Kennen, but it's definitely going to be a struggle like it was in the last game against the Renekton.
Yeah, definitely. It's gonna perform a similar task to the Renekton in that it should have early lane control and it should be bullying out the Mordekaiser early. Though it's gonna scale much better into the team fights and lose out in the 1v1. Game progresses more and more, it's gonna lose out in the 1v1. As Mordekaiser gets more tanky, gets more slow, gets his Rylai's out, and just ults Kennen and kills Kennen. That's really going to be what it's going to come down to most of these fights for Kennen Mordekaiser. I do think this Echo is a little bit out of place with this team comp. I feel like they would have been better off with something more tanky up there, maybe like a Gragas or something like that. Though I can respect the Echo, I do think it's out of place with the comp that they ended up forming after they picked it.
I would agree, because like part of the power of Echo is the fact that you can flex it to multiple lanes, and then you just choose not to end up flexing it and just put it in the jungle, which I feel like is its weakest role.
I don't agree with that. Especially after this last round of its jungle is like its first clear. Echo's first clear is pretty bad, but once you get that first clear done, you're gonna be going through your jungle without much issue. So what they did with this last round of buffs made his first clear in the jungle easier. So it targeted the weakness he had in that capacity. But definitely I would rather Gragas than Echo here, just because I want someone to stand in front of Caitlyn Ziggs, who's a melee champ, that can tank. And that's not Echo.
So it'll just be interesting to see what ends up happening then. But it is a lot of AP coming in on the side of TWC with triple AP top side of the map, and your only source of AD is Caitlyn.
Yeah, on the other side of that coin, the only tank that Noah has is J4, who's, if you go full tank on J4, you're not doing anything else because you'll do 0 damage. So it's very different than a Sejuani building full tank, because Sejuani has percent HP ratios and base numbers are much better for fighting. That's why you tend to see Sej picked more in a competitive sense. Where J4's strengths has been where Noah has doubled down, which is in this AoE team fight ability outside in the Nico and in the Kennen. So it's going to be interesting to see as Team World Class has looked for more of a sieging with a split push option in the Mordekaiser, where Noah just want to 5v5, win a team fight, Baron, and then win the game like they did.
The crux of the composition, I feel, for TWC is going to be how straight up Merkin plays on this Janna, because the Janna can effectively negate both the Nico and the Kennen from ever getting into the team fight, and without that follow-up
and the Rakan,
like the J4 is like the trickiest one because his ultimate is unstoppable, so he's pretty much guaranteed of getting in. But you can negate all of their other engage. It's just, how is that crucial monsoon going to be used?
Yeah, and I've seen some performances This is out of straight up murder on Jan in the past, and some have been very impressive, and others have left me wanting something a little bit more. So it's interesting. I'm really hoping that this is an exciting Janna. He is taking, which leaves me hopeful. That he's not taking exhaust completely passive. He wants to get stuff done.
I think exhaust would it actually be bad because you exhaust the cannon in a team fight if you aren't able to disengage him. Like, I think that's fine. Like, I mean, yeah, like Ignite's still better.
I like the Ignite because of what it says about the Janna play rather than what it actually means in team fights. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. It's
No,
not about...
no. So you have not seen the cancer of heal and/or barrier Janna then.
Well, I've definitely been playing long enough that I've seen all the summoners in the world on Janna at this point, including Revive, my sir. So, it's definitely an interesting comp from the side of Team World Class. We'll see if it works out. It's a little risky, but you know, if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it's gonna fail drastically. But that's it for now, and I think we'll be seeing you guys real soon back in the game.
And welcome back, everyone, to this deciding match here between Noah and Team World Class here. We have the final game of this best-of-3 match here in Dominate Week number 2.
We see
As we're gonna
Stack early on from the side of Noah, potentially looking to do something, but they break off into scrimmage line as Team World Class is playing safe. Also watching.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, just standard 5-point coming in, nothing too unexpected coming in from either team as well. Noah could look to do something early. It's generally safe to just play things slow and not risk anything too crazy happening.
Checking Janna, she still has not scaled up an ability, so hope that is a W skill up when it is chosen, and we got a little action going on. Bot lane, up top, nothing crazy, everything pretty standard in items. And J4 has just flashed. Looks like he was trying to type and he's getting spam pinged by his teammates. So definitely a team effort there, and we got the game going at the start. Mercy Hawk clearing cleanly, it seems. He has started W, and he is maintaining a good health after his first camp. Has not popped a potion yet. It's very important that he stay healthy as long as he can in his first clear, where he could find himself recalling before he has enough
gold for an important item. So did see the comment coming in from straight up Merkin, so that's always an encouraging sign to see happen. So because that does mean that she is looking to play a little bit more aggressively in lane with that W harass.
Speaking of aggression, Man of Pi is being very aggressive to get out these Q heals. He's hitting both straight up Merkin and Professor Chaos with them so far. They have not amounted to too much damage, but it is pressure nonetheless. Though I do think that he might want to calm down about it. His HP is lacking than his opponent's.
Yeah, you don't want to be trading very aggressively into the minion wave early on into the game. That was kind of like the biggest thing that I noticed from Anthem early on, is like he E'd into the minion wave and took more damage than he got from autoing Happy Hippos. So, like,
I mean,
always
he E'd in to like get the damage with the E, but what he should have done is he should with the attack speed bonus of the E.
Yeah.
He is getting very lucky with these klepto progs, as he does have 2 Sly Sacks of gold in his inventory. Though his HP is not looking too crisp. I do think he has biscuits to sustain himself.
I would assume so. Though he would have already gotten it if he had biscuits, but it looks like both junglers are up in this top lane. Stun is going to be dodged. Chicken Hunter does not have EQ. Flash is going to come forward, but the Time Winder is going to miss for the slow. Red buff is still there. Can he get the auto? He can, but the EQ does come back off cooldown. Stock up in the bottom lane as the Q is a little slow. Ignite does go on to straight up Merkin, but it is a relatively even trade of HP between both supports.
Yeah, and I'm pulling back to this top lane. It really is so tragic that Q and did not hit Chicken Hunter with it, as we know that Chicken Hunter's flash was on cooldown from that level 1 mishap, so that would have been a certain kill. So very tragic to not hit that Q. Echo would really like the early gold influx and tempo. Does not get it, and Chicken Hunter lives to feed another day.
Yeah, but he's keeping up in farm so far. Looking like he's going to try to steal some camps on the bot side of the map from J4, but J4 is pathing there as well.
Well, let's look at the top lane real quick, as we see Happy Hippos is winning his first matchup of the day.
Yeah, he's finally finding some success up in that top lane after definitely not enjoying his experience in the first 2 games.
Yeah, the first 2 games were rough. Hopefully this game makes up for it, as he does have a lot of kill potential into the Kennen. As I was stating earlier, trapping Kennen in his ult, Kennen will not be able to kite out. So that could be a very consistent point of gold for Happy Hippos, but we shall see that, as he is buying a Ruby Crystal and an Amp Tone. And walk back to lane, ready to go.
Yeah, gonna be curious to see whether he completes the early hunting guys or if he's gonna wait to complete Riley's early on with
last
that.
time he got the orb, the magic pen orb. I forget its name. Sorry.
Oblivion orb.
Yeah, he got Oblivion orb, and then he got into the Riley. So I want to see if he's gonna try for that like early magic pen again in the top lane, followed up by Riley's. I hope he just goes straight into the Rylai's, especially because he's against this ranged champion. I think it's a lot more valuable to have that slow than a little more damage.
Yeah, so just gonna be
waiting to see how that top lane ends up shaking out, whether or not the advantage that Happy Hippos has been able to generate for himself with his E accuracy has been on point so far, trading very well. But Anthem now is level 6, does have a big power spike advantage over Happy Hippos.
Decent trade for Happy Hippos. There is a big wave here for him to farm. Anthem will most likely recall and try to get some gold spent so that he can fight better. But no, he is coming right back around, and he's going to look to stay in the lane, pressure out Happy Hippos a bit, get some gold going before he recalls. We shall see if it pays off for him, or if he is better off.
Oh, Death Realm is going to come in onto
Yeah,
Kenny. He's trying to cut out. Slicing Maelstrom is going to come in. Happy Hippos is going to get the passive proc and the Conqueror. He needs another Q, but I don't think it's going to come off cooldown in order for him to get the kill.
Yeah, he's not going to get the kill, but this is a lot of pressure for his team. He is forcing the recall out of Ant, likely followed by a TP back to lane, and his team hasn't spent anything. He's building a small lead up in the top lane, around 14 CS so far, can quickly become a massive lead if Anthem starts to CS badly.
Yeah,
But
he did already TP back into lane, so he is.
I'm worried about bot lane. It's looks like Math 32A is pulling ahead 61 to 48 in the bot lane.
It is Zyricon though.
It is Zyricon, but it is Caitlyn Janna too. So I would hope to have a little bit better of a laning phase, at least at the very get-go, where there's not a lot of follow-up damage in the bot lane. And you have the massive range advantage out of the Caitlyn.
Yeah, but the Caitlyn can't aggress forward if...
I mean, that's the point of the Janna, right? To interrupt the Rakan.
Yeah, but it's not like it's an easy interrupt to pull off this Janna.
No, but if you're picking Janna into the Rakan, it's because you can do it, right? And if you can't do it, then you should be
Pick
playing something
Janna.
else.
Yeah. Janna was blind picked.
No, it wasn't. That had already done
Yeah, it
this.
was. No, Zyricon was picked after Janna was
Oh,
picked.
you're right. You're right. It was indeed. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think it's expectant to expect the best out of people. And if they can't pull through, then it's not because you're expecting too much. It's because they're farming too little.
Oh, but we are going to have nice...
Oh, but see? That was with ult on him, too.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's a straight line engage. Straight line.
We got more fighting
though. Very easy, but there is a skirmish in around this blue buff. Looks like they are going to be able to defend their blue buff here, but we do have the rotation coming down from Happy Hippos. They are still trying to fight this out.
Oh, he's got the J4 trap.
Chicken Hunter is forced extremely low. Can he get in range to the tower? He fails his EQ, but he is able to survive long enough to flash over the wall. But here comes the pop blood. Does lay down to everyone into the massive follow-up with the slicing nails. Rataka is so low. Anthem is going to trade his life, but they do secure the first blood over for Taka.
Yeah, and Mercy Hawk just CC'd there, could not get the ult off, completely stunned up by Anthem by himself, as Chicken Hunter is still around. He could potentially die here. That would be so tragic for his team.
Yeah, just
doesn't quite snag him with that bomb. He does get away. And we see the bot lane is starting to look a little bit better, at least in control. And looking at the HP bars here, it's looking better than it has in the past. Hopefully they can turn this series of good trades into a CS difference, you know, like just at least come back in CS if you're not going to be ahead.
Yeah, because Caitlyn, you really want to pick to win laning phase, and if that doesn't really happen, she kind of essentially just becomes a siege machine that you need to use.
Well, yeah, she has this super weak mid game, which is really the problem, because your late game is fine due to your range and your passive being very consistent. Your late game is fine. It's not as strong as it used comparatively in the past. It used to be disgusting, like almost Kog'Maw levels.
Because you used to be able to build a Runa's Hurricane and use it to hyper stack your headshot.
Yeah, just every other headshot. But we see another engage, maybe? No. He does back off after throwing out that Q, and it looks like Professor Chaos and Straight Up Merking are playing it very safe in the bot lane as they have absolutely no vision in the bot river or in the bot jungle.
Yeah, trade. Oh, Mercy Hawk is here in the top lane. Antim is going to try to get away. Does have the E, so is going to be able to get away relatively effectively.
Yeah, Happy Hippos doesn't have the ult there so that he could trap Kennen and give Echo time to catch up. So not really much to do there. Antim just can E away, doesn't have to use flash or anything. I think Echo is soloing the Rift Herald right now. I see him pit over there moving around consistently, so I do believe he is trying to solo that Herald right now. J4 just finished grabbing that bot crab, but he's going to his Krug, so he's going to be on the other side of the map, and is going to have absolutely no idea and is not going to contest it. But Nico baby, Nico's walking right at it. Oh no, oh it's so low. He still has ult. Mercy Hawk still has ult.
Did he get it? He did get it.
Oh my god,
he is gonna die for it, but he did get the Rift Herald.
Not even.
Oh, Antim did get pulled into the death realm. It is gonna use Slicing Else to buy a little bit of time. Can have Hippos gets the 1v1 kill. Trying to get onto Taka, does use a shape splitter to buy himself a little bit of space, but it is a 1-for-1 trade for the Rift Herald. But the Rift Herald goes over to TWC.
Yeah, Mercy Hawk trades his life for it. Really not that big of a deal in the larger pictures. Happy Hippos has gotten what was essentially a solo kill onto Kennen there in a 1v2 scenario. Really impressive. Definitely turning the leaf on this game compared to those first two games, which were quite rough for him in the top lane.
Yeah, so it's gonna be very important to see if Echo can drop that Rift Herald before that crucial 14 minutes come across to get the maximum out of spending that much time getting the early Rift Herald. But given that he's looking to do his blue buff, I don't know if he's going to be able to drop it. We do have the engage coming in. It is definitely dodged by the sidestep from Straight Up Merkin. Very well played coming in with those boost lane shoots on that forecast Janna.
Yeah, definitely showing what is up on this Janna, interrupting Rakan left and right, as well as sidestepping his abilities with great finesse. Looking very pretty on that. Oh, meanwhile, Professor Chaos is consistently down on CS, and the CS difference has been increased temporarily to 18 from 14. We'll see how it gets affected here, as this is going to be first tower in the mid lane, because this is Ziggs and that is a Herald, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. So that tower just explodes essentially.
Yeah, no, that thing's dead. Nothing to do about it. It's goodbye. He could have even W'd it much sooner. He was trying to. Oh, Professor Chaos.
Oh my God! He'll get you. But he gets the E over the wall too. Oh, but unfortunately, Straight Up Merkin is gonna pay for his 80 carry sins.
Yeah, and J4 paying maybe not enough for him.
Oh dear Lord, what did we just watch?
So what happened there is that J4's EQ was actually interrupted by the dragon getting up. That's what happened there. So.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Professor Chaos, way too greedy for that ward. There's no reason that he should have walked up into that tri-bush without knowledge that J4 was somewhere else on the, much less bot lane. So, few mistakes there. Straight Up Merkin makes some beautiful plays on the Janna yet again. Professor Chaos barely lives, and as the world is just, you know, unjust and cruel, Straight Up Merkin just dies.
That's the Hashtag support lives matter, guys.
Alright. Happy Hippos has been slowly increasing his lead in the top lane. He's sitting pretty around 30 CS up right now. We'll see how that continues. The tower in the bot lane has fallen, and that has been matched by the tower in the mid lane, which was the first tower taken by the side of TWC.
Yeah, and they have a lot of gold indexed onto this Ziggs, who is sitting fairly happy. Isn't quite as far ahead of the Nico due to Nico having 2 kills for Taka, but it's still a Ziggs. If they're able to get this Ziggs and Caitlyn onto towers, You have to think there's not a lot of options coming in.
And I like that this game is even more for Team World Class than I do for Noah. Because Team World Class are really looking to get to a base level with the Ziggs and Caitlyn and then just group up. Meanwhile, the Mordekaiser is really all that matters side lane. Winning one, then that's pressure for his team as we are into another pause here. Hopefully it will not be as long as the pause last game, but we shall see.
So, while we're in a pause, let's do quick item checks. We've got fully completed Proto Belt with Boots 2 for the Cannon. We have Cinderhulk and Boots completed for the Jarvan. You have GLP and Boots completed for the Nico. And then Essence Reaver and Boots for the Zaya.
It was a quick pause as we are starting to see ours in chat. Hopefully we will get back into the game very soon. Looking at some of these items from specifically mid lane, I want to focus on the mid lane right here. What Ziggs really needs is 3 items. He needs to get to that decap. Oh boy, we got another fight.
Yeah, straight up Merkin did still have the flash though.
Yeah, he just gets away. Nothing too serious. No, Janus flash. I mean, you just saw him sacrifice his life for. So I'm not too worried about him not having flash, as he's gonna be dying anyway.
In the immortal words of the guy from ScarCraft, my life for ire.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that Reddit clip where the Alistar flashes in front of like the Blitz hook to save his.
Yes.
That's what straight up Merkin is doing here. He's flashing to save his ADC, even though his ADC was not in the river and was definitely not as out of position as he was there.
No, obviously not.
Mercy Hawk has finally finished this jungle item. Something that's interesting is that he is going for the Sheen here. So he is going for Iceborne Gauntlet by the looks of it, and is looking for the very tanky, heavy on armor build, which I'm not exactly sure how I feel about this. Generally, what he's doing with his build is he's gonna go Iceborne Gauntlet, and then he's gonna go Zonias, or he's just gonna go on the Sheen into the Iceborne instead of this full AP Echo that you're used to. So this has a lot of chase potential and is quite a bit tankier than you would expect, given how Echo's usually. So that's what he is gearing up towards. I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping he'd go full AP and get like Proto Belt there and then just pop off. But apparently he's just going to be a team player, which is boring. But here's that cannon by the team player. Most likely.
Yeah, she's dead in just a moment here.
Any second now. There she is. There's the dead cannon. Nothing to be done about it, as Happy Hippos has finished the Rylai's. Wait, did he ult there? Wait, he did ult. Why did he ult? I don't think he needed to ult. It does seem like he ulted because it's on cooldown. It's a little hard to tell when you're spectating with that Mordekaiser ult.
Yeah, once the Mordekaiser ult came in, there really wasn't much anti-team to do. He's just dead little.
Yeah, just dead. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And that's really what the problem with picking a ranged champion into Mordekaiser. This is why if you're big brain, you just pick like Gangplank into Mordekaiser every game and just keep oranging his ult. But not gonna pick Gangplank. Gonna have Kennen. Do you think the Mordekaiser was among the last picks though?
Yes, Mordekaiser was the final pick.
Yeah, so it would have been hard to prepare for. Impossible, actually.
Yes.
But this Kennen definitely getting.
But considering they've played Mordekaiser in every game, I'm pretty sure.
No, they didn't play it the first
No, they played
game.
Jax's game 1, that's right.
Yep. Well, so I gotta say, like, this CS gap from the top lane is just consistently. This is really good sign for Team World Class. Then now they just need to be successful sieging, which they haven't really been successful yet. I'm not sure if they're waiting for 2 items on the Caitlyn before they like really commit to a siege scenario. It would make sense if that's what they're waiting for. At least 2 items, 3 as soon as possible. But yeah, it looks like they're just taking their time, trying to take a little bit slow during this early game. They are down 1,000 gold, which is not that much when it's 20 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and most of that difference is going to be down in the bottom lane as they are going to try to go onto Happy Hippos. Does have the ultimate, is going to Pearl in the Jarm, and he's trying to whittle him down. Manapies has rotated down as well, is going to get the CG chain. Janna has here.
Oh, look at
He's
Janna.
going to keep the Mordekaiser alive, but the Slicing Maelstrom is going to come in on the backside. Happy Hippos is still alive. He survives! Happy Hippos and straight up Merkin.
Oh man, dude. When you die to this Mordekaiser with like 20 HP left, and then he heals it all up with his triumph, this feels bad, man. And you're 0-4 at this point as Anthem, straight up Merkin has just flashed in to and get everyone just barely off of Happy Hippos. Truly a clutch moment by skin of the teeth all the way through that. So that's a tough break for Noah. You got to say, like, that was a good play by them, but they were just not quick enough. Mordekaiser ult was too useful for staying alive when you're outnumbered in a 1v3 scenario. You're just 1v1ing, I guess, because of reasons. So definitely unfortunate, and definitely good teamwork by Team World Class. Good reactions, and a big play from straight up Merc.
Yeah, just very well played. Even though the Janna didn't flash in to save him, the thought process was there, so.
They flash, my bad. You see an engage in the mid lane on the Rakan.
Yeah, the engage is coming in onto the Rakan as the Rakan just is not long for this one. Math 32 should be falling to the proc coming in from Echo, as that's 2 more quick kills going over as TWC just decided enough's enough for this slow game. They want to kick it into high gear.
Yeah, and here you see the usefulness out of this Iceborne Gauntlet really paying off, locking down that Xayah so that she could be killed after she ulted and flashed. It's definitely starting to pay off Mercy Hawk in the jungle with this champion that takes a little while to get going.
Yes, so gonna be interesting to see how things progress up. EQ is gonna land. Nice little satchel charge interrupt coming in from Reese's there.
Yeah, Mercy Hawk did have to flash though, so though it was a really good interrupt by Reese's Cup, as you mentioned, was not enough to keep Mercy Hawk from not having to use his resources.
Yeah, but it was a cool little thing to see regardless.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Happy Hippo's bot lane has heavy pressure onto this tower, will likely take it unless a TP comes out right now to save it, but I don't think so.
I don't think it's worth investing a TP in for a tier 1 tower. Like I always tell my team, after about 18 minutes, tier 1 towers don't really matter. You shouldn't be wasting resources to defend them. Like,
well, unless
even
it's
mid lane.
No, I disagree. Mid lane, you got to keep that alive for if you can. It's just,
Yeah,
it's
but
just
is
good
it
for
worth a team wipe?
No, not worth a team wipe.
Like,
yeah, that's something
again,
else.
if you're not in position to defend it, you don't all in to try to defend it.
Okay,
Like,
I'm
you
sad
just
to
let
say
it fall
the
down.
tower did not die either, so that's unfortunate. Can you just kill this tower? It's like I like no HP. Kennen has gotten this Zhonya's after the Proto Belt. Might help him while he's stuck in the Death Realm. Most likely not, as Happy Hippos is way too far ahead on the Mordekaiser here. He'll just kill Anthem after the Death Realm times out if Anthem somehow survives through it.
Yeah, but Reese's Cup is sitting at a fairly strong point on the Ziggs. They don't quite have 2 items onto the Caitlyn. That's going to be their, like, big power spike, because that's when Essence Reaver is going to be completed, and that's when they can really start rotating between lanes and just start massively sieging. They do have Echo playing their second one as they're keeping Ziggs and Caitlyn together, which is inefficient allocation of resources.
No,
but
I think keeping the. I think this
no,
is the.
I was gonna say that. Like, I'm not saying it's correct for them to do given their team composition, but it's still not great resource management.
I mean, as long as one of these two, both of them, are just farming their team's jungle, it obviously, when you're in a 1-3-1 scenario and you have the the ADC in the same. It's generally awkward because it's usually the jungler who's there with the ADC instead of the mid lane, and the ADC is getting everything. But when you have the ADC and the mid grouped up, obviously they have to share resources. Having said that, though, I don't think it's a bad thing for Mercy Hawk on the Echo to get a lot of the resources. Okay, never mind. He's building tank. That's beta. Yeah, don't give him any more gold.
You no longer deserve gold.
Yeah, you should build damage, dude. Come on, where's the Zhonya's at? Like, got AP, dude. Gotta do damage.
I mean, he
It
has certain
heals you more
echoes.
if you have more AP. See, big brain.
He is going to go on down to Anthem, who has not really had success in these last 2 games.
Yeah, and it's not gonna get better. Well, he's had success in the first game.
Yeah, he had success in the first game, not this game.
Yeah, no. As you can see, that it's really not close. Whenever Anthem is fighting, he is.
But they are going to try to crowd up Mercy Hawk. Does not have Carter make available. He is going to get bursted down. Is going to fall to the last auto coming in. He kind of goes to only lands on Risa Cups. Here comes Happy Hippos. Nice root is going to land on Risa Cup on the backside. Taka is going to get a 2-man pop wrestle with the Zhonya's, but it's not going to be enough as he falls to the auto coming in from Happy Hippos. So that's a TP burn for a 2-for-1 in favor of the side of TWC. They secure bot lane tower. They're going to secure the Infernal. And you have to wonder if it's just a matter of time before TWC ends this game.
Yeah. Well, having said that, though, this is a siege comp. Siege comps have a weakness against being all in. If if Noah gets the right all in, maybe they can find a way back into this. But this Infernal Drake is really worrying because Risa's Cup is now gonna probably go for that death cap. So now's really when he's gonna get that AP pool going. And so getting the Infernal now is perfect. On top of that, Professor Chaos went the IE Essence Reaver on Caitlyn, which once again is pretty standard on her. And so having that Infernal's yet again very efficient on him. I'm curious to see where Echo goes with his build now, if he's gonna continue to go tank, if he's gonna do some like hybrid shenanigans. But hopefully he gets Zhonya's. I would get Zhonya's here.
I would say Zhonya's or Leandry's might be okay too.
Yeah, Leandry's wouldn't be bad, though he really.
Zhonya's would be better.
Yeah, like I would respect the Leandry. So I don't see why he would want it, right? So let's see this J4. That does half of his damage in EQ. That's gonna be a lot worse once he gets death cap. It's gonna really chunk out.
Yep. Plus it means he bursts towers from lower HP because that mid lane tier 2
that
is almost at execute range.
No, it's already at execute range. You just need your passive, and then it's dead. That tower is, as soon as there's a wave that they feel comfortable on, that they can hit that tower with, that tower is dead. So that one's a matter of time. I think maybe they're hoping to continue to build the pressure in the side lanes such that they're hitting towers the same time that they are mid. We'll see how they set this up. The mid lane currently is the only lane that is all the way up to the tower, as we see their passive auto from Ziggs tower with the W execute.
Yeah, so once they get that, they pretty much get full control, but it looks like they're going to rotate up to this top lane. Root is going to come in onto Mercy Hawk, but he's just going to get a little shield, walk away, because he's a fairly tanky Echo at this point here. They're trying to get in range for it to engage. EQ is going to come in, but into the trap. Cataclysm is going to come in. Flank is going to come in from the Man Applies as they do lose Chicken Hunter immediately. Carter Break is going to come in, securing a whole bunch of damage. Antium has come in with the Slicing Maelstrom. Is going to try to do what he can on the backside. Everyone on the backside is super low. Professor Chaos securing the kill with the tilt over Peacemaker.
Here comes Mordekaiser, though.
Happy Hippos is here, is full HP, is just
He's
kind of
behind the tower, just chilling, dude. What's he doing? Where's it going?
He's cutting off the wave.
I mean, but his team won the fight. Why does he?
He's cutting the wave so they can push the wave into tower.
Alright, now that alright, so they have recall the bot lane of Noah. This opens up Professor Chaos to hit the top tower, which he is doing.
So
so
they get
now.
2 tier 2 towers off of that fight.
Well, they got
They
one
wouldn't-
off the fight because they had already gotten mid. I definitely would have rathered Happy Hippos to just stay in the bot lane, I guess, and just take that tower because the Kennen TP'd out and he just walked all the way from bot lane to top. He got there way too late. He didn't do anything other than stand in front of Caitlyn as Caitlyn finished off the tower. That probably would have been finished off anyways.
Yeah, so so the side of Noah still does have their wombo combo available, but Antium is not in a happy spot on this cannon. Very far behind. Jarvan slowly getting to being a fairly tanky boy. Once he completes that Warmogs, he will be fairly tanky.
And it looks like Echo is building towards Leandries.
Yeah, it looks like we are going to see the Leandries. Almost at 4 items for Zaya. Antium gets pulled in the Death Realm.
Yeah,
Is going to die here in about 1 second.
Yep. Around a second. That's rough, man. That's why you ban Mordekaiser when you see the other team plays it, because it's not fun to play against.
Yeah, because it just eventually gets to the point, it's just like, guys, I don't get to play the game anymore.
This is why you play Anivia, no matter what. Mordekaiser, you just play Anivia. Or Gangplank, like I said earlier, but Nivea's better. Nivea's an alpha champion.
Another fail from Chicken Hunter. He's trying to go in on a Mercy Hawk, but Mercy Hawk with the Conqueror does so much damage. Straight up Merkin is by himself.
He's safe.
Oh,
I don't
Chicken
see...
Hunter is going to go in with the ultimate, is going to survive with the Stone Plate. Pop Blossom is going to come in, blowing up Reese's Cup with the damage as Mercy Hawk hits, dies as well to Taka, as that's 2 free kills over to the side of Noah. Meanwhile, Happy's just soloing the dragon.
Yeah, way too much of an overreach. You're trying to have Mercy Hawk, who is pretty much just built tank. I look at that build and that says tank. That doesn't say carry. So he's built tank, and they're trying to play around him to be the primary damage dealer in that team fight, and that just doesn't really make sense. Reese's Cup overextends for damage, ends up dying to Nico ult because straight up Merkin's ult was not enough to get Nico out of range, and it ends up just being super tragic for the side of Team World Class. Hopefully they start playing a little bit more intelligently here, because this is starting to set up to face checking a bush that the enemy team is in.
Yeah, because Zaya is really scary right now. Wait, why are they not doing Baron?
Yeah.
Why are they not just immediately going to Baron?
Yeah, they're pinging it now.
You
They're
know what
pinging it now.
Jarvan is. Jarvan cannot be there.
Do it. The Kennen doesn't even have TP. Just do this. Ziggs is still top. I mean, maybe blue team doesn't know, but they do have a vision. They see Caitlyn auto attacking. Yeah, they see Caitlyn auto attacking. This is no secret.
Dear Lord.
And they're still not doing it. Just Happy Hippos TP up there, force this, win the game.
Yeah, just force the 5v4. Just force the 5v4.
All right, we
don't
see
have a front line.
deciding not to force the 5v4. Team World Class has trying to set up, it seems, a 4-1 scenario where they have 4 people top and Mordekaiser in the bot lane, still having TP. Kennen's TP will be up soon, less than a minute. Let's see if Team World Class can punish, or if they just gave up a chance to win the game.
Oh, Mercy Hawk is going to be forced to use a Chrono Break to disengage.
Yeah, definitely learning that he cannot be as
It's a
greedy as he
very
would
low
like to be.
cooldown, though.
Yeah, it is a low cooldown. He does have a 40%
40%.
speed, with his items. They are starting this Baron again, but this time
they are
Happy
finishing
Hippos is a
again.
lot closer, but to the enemy base. But he's not doing it. They TP over, dude. Or do something, or just pressure your lane harder, because Kennen was in there uncontested. If you're gonna leave the lane when you're split pushing like that, you gotta pressure TP, or you're just wasting your team's time.
Like,
I'm actually super tilted by how they're playing this right now.
Yeah, no, this is definitely very different from how the Team World Class's early game looks like, where they look very on pace, tempo based, and they think about stuff before they do.
Like
Not every team can do.
They seem to come and go with how Mercy Hawk's position in the game. Like Mercy Hawk was in such a strong position that they pretty much controlled the entire game off of his back in the last game. Now he's not in quite as strong of a position, and they're seemingly struggling to make sure they're dot their I's, cross their T's. Oh, Chicken Hunter wants to face check this, but he can't. Twin Shadows is gonna land on the Mercy.
Okay, Taka 12 does not try to do anything with those spooky ghosts, just lets them hit Echo. Straight up Merkin continues to try to maintain vision control for his team, River, while also denying vision for the enemy team. His team needs to supply a few more pink wards for him to be able to do that consistently, though.
Yeah, he's the only one who has a control ward left in there.
Yeah, he has this control ward in the pixel bush, and then there's that control ward in the lane bush, but that's way too far from Baron. You need more pinks over there to control that properly.
Yeah, so like you're playing a siege composition. You're not playing. You're playing the way you need to be playing in the sense that you're not allowing the enemy team to engage on you, but you're not taking the maximum in the fact that you have a massive advantage in the 4-1.
Yeah, not necessarily. Well, I mean, they can stay on the 1-3-1. I don't think it's the 1-3-1 necessarily that's the issue. But if they stay in this 1-3-1, then Happy Hippos has to play more aggressive, and his team has to apply more pressure so that he can play to the aggression that he needs to. Because he is way too far ahead to be playing this passively against this cannon that he's dumpstering.
Yeah. So I don't think Mordekaiser's actually killable by Noah right now.
No, well, in a 1v5, sure, they'll kill.
It'll still take a long time in the 1v5.
Yeah, it'll still take a hot second, but he'll die. But that's about it. I don't see him dying in any stretch of the imagination, unless he's literally just AFK tanking the towers. That's smart, using Nico clone to hit the Caitlyn trap. Manages to get rid of the trap without losing half of his HP. Plus.
Or all of it.
Yeah, or all of it. True. Facts.
Like, it's a 3-item Caitlyn. Like,
J4 with the very entertaining build of HP and armor. Very entertaining.
MR.
Yeah, oh yeah, some MR in there. I mean, where's the lethality? Well, that's what I want in my games. Give me a little J4.
I've played full lethality J4 top. It's the funnest thing ever. If you get
exactly, that's why they should be playing that instead of Hank beta stuff, right?
Oh, but Chicken Hunter's
he's not gonna kill him. He's not gonna kill him. He's not even gonna get close. He got the tower hits on him.
So
and
it looks like TWC's going for the Elder Dragon.
They're doing Elder. It looks like they're gonna chain the Baron, which is smart. The Elder's a lot easier to do, and will make the Baron take easy. Mercy Hawk way out of position here, as his team's jungler. What is going on? Like, he is Echo. He's gonna, like, he gets out, but he's not been playing good this last few.
No,
his last 15
minutes.
This
game.
Like his last 15 minutes have just been really disappointing for Mercy Hawk on this Echo jungle. Hasn't. Like, he had that good team fight in the top lane, but his team lost that. So.
Okay, now they're doing
now
Baron.
They start this. Yeah, they have the 4
about 10 years later, they start Baron. They should be able to secure it.
Cannon is looking to recall to the base so that he can TP in, but nope. That's just Baron. And I would like Happy Hippo to recall here, yeah. Make sure that you are on the map at the same time as your team, applying pressure by yourself. That's split pushing 101.
He's now full build on this Mordekaiser.
He is indeed.
He literally
It
never
looks scary.
needs the base. He never needs the base.
Yeah, it's a scary build. He's got Warmog, so it definitely doesn't need a base. The most fun and engaging item in this game that makes every trade impactful and important. Caitlyn has
It's not
got
even
him.
like he has mana, so like he literally never needs the base.
Caitlyn does have BT, does not have a Last Whisper. The only armor items are these.
No, there's a significant amount of armor. Because the Zhonya's is 100 armor.
I mean, yeah, but those are 2 champions, and then there's J4, which, like, whatever.
There's
like,
there's like 100 armor on Rakan.
Between. Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't see
between
the.
Zeke's and Nightfall and Aegis.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
all right. Richard, you should have gotten the Last Whisper. All right. Now that I think about it, big things. Should have gotten a Last Whisper there. As we see the siege progressing, this is. Siege comps are definitely probably the best comp for an Elder Dragon, as far as I'm concerned, because you hit one poke ability and goodbye HP bar to that poor recipient.
I think the only more terrifying composition to have an Elder Dragon is a team with Jace, Zoe, and Ezreal, as they are going to try to engage onto Happy Hippos. It's just going to pull the Xayah into the Death Realm. It is taking up so much damage, but is going to get bursted down. They do trade 2 inhibitor towers for it. Nice Monsoon is going to kick out
That's game.
Caitlyn, but so much damage is going to come in. They are going to kill straight up Merkin, but Professor Chaos and Reese's Cup are still alive, as well as Mercy Hawk. That is all the damage they need to end the game. The Man of Pies decides they're going to have cake on the side of TWC, as they are finally going to end the game, taking the series 2-1, advancing their record to 2-0 so far in the Dominate Premade.
Yeah, and Team World Class lost the first game in disappointing fashion, and they decided that, hey, this is our only loss of the series. We're gonna put it together. We're not gonna throw again, and they didn't. They performed like I was saying, like how each game was split into acts. They always won in the first act, and they managed to continue that throughout the series. And the difference was they just didn't throw in the second and third game.
Yeah, they execute. Game 2 was still their best game, in my opinion. Game 3 was very lethargic. Like, they were playing a siege composition, which was into a heavy engage composition. So like the slow play was understandable, but I still would have liked to see them be a little bit more proactive around the Baron, especially when the enemy jungler continued to show himself bot lane.
Yeah, no, when the jungle went bot and Team World Class did not immediately start Baron, that's unforgivable. That cannot happen again, as far as I'm concerned. That needs to be done every time, like clockwork. That's a free Baron, and if it's not a free Baron, it's at least 3 free kills as they come in to try to stop you.
Yeah, especially when the jungler's their only tank. Like, I can understand you're eating a lot of damage from Baron, but that's a crucial next level step to see teams improve, because this is a very long regular season, because it is a double round robin for the entire group. So there is still a lot of growth for all these teams to make. But that would be the biggest takeaway if I was TWC, is making sure you're taking the maximum of enemy mistakes. For the side of Noah, what would you say would be the biggest thing they need to work on going into next week?
I'd say they would need to work on their early game map play. They were just making way too many mistakes, being lane weak that shouldn't have been weak, as well as overextending consistently across the map all the time. So those are really, like, you really need to be able to control your aggression. Be aggressive when you know where the jungler is. Don't be aggressive when you don't, because that's just how you die. So I feel like that would be the biggest thing. Just a little bit better tracking of the jungler would serve them very well.
Yeah, so taking that away, very well played series coming in from the side of TWC. Noah did put up for a hell of a fight, but unfortunately they lose in over 3 games here.
What would you say is your MVP of the series? Before you wrap it up, we got to do MVPs.
Well, in terms of each game, Anthem, Mercy Hawk, and honestly, the last game, I'd give it to straight up Merkin.
Yeah, I would give it the straight up Merkin.
So, like, overall,
just
straight up
because-
Merkin.
Yeah, just like Mercy Hawks game 2 was considerably better than straight up Merkin, but game 3 was so bad for Mercy that he can't get the MVP. So straight up Merkin gets it.
Yeah, so straight up Merkin is going to be our MVP for this series. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Primus. He's Muffin. You guys all have a great rest of your night.